Three, two, one, go.
If you can hear the sound of my voice, you are on LSD. And I don't mean the mind altering substances that would allow you to commune with your inner consciousness or to elevate yourself to a higher plane. No, I'm talking about the Lonely Screen Delicatessen podcast. Here we are today, as always, with my compatriot in media and mediocrity, the Pinoy Boy Toy, Mike Novolozo, and one of my dearest friends and just brother from another mother, Joe. Joe,
It's me.
we have been talking about stuff like what we were going to talk about tonight for a long time, and you are the guy who introed me to the world of like the Alex Joneses and stuff like that. And you've been saying a lot of this shit for like years, like legit years. And now we're starting to see a lot of these different little things coming to light. I saw a picture today where Tom Hanks was taking a picture in Greece with his passport, and he was now a Greek citizen, and he didn't look too happy about living in the Greek paradise. And Ellen, there was some pictures that I saw recently about, and all of a sudden her show is going away. And I think a lot of people like myself who don't delve into those particular rabbit holes are left wondering, like, what the fuck is going on, and how has this flown under the radar for so long?
Well, first, thank you guys for having me again. It's
Love
great
you.
to
Love
be
you,
here.
goddammit.
And now you guys can, I love you too. You guys can tag me in this. We could start spreading the word. My former account is gone. That project is over.
Oh, really?
So, follow Perfect Tommy on Facebook, and
Yeah.
I will keep shit posting until every pedophile and communist is locked up behind bars, or at least fucking walled behind California and Oregon and Washington. I would settle for that at this
The
point.
West Coast Wall.
Yeah, just like, let them show us how it's done. Like, cool, man. Fucking show us utopia. Like,
How
so
funny would it be to see if that wall went up, what the immigration wall looks like on the Texas side and on the California side, like how different it would look on the side, you know what I mean?
I think more people would flee to Texas if
That's
all
what
of
I'm
a sudden
saying.
California is like, oh yeah,
Initially there'd be a
pedophilia is
California
okay.
boom, and then initially there'd be a California boom, and then after that everybody'd be like, no, this is fucked up, especially all Latino people.
No, I don't think.
No puede, no puede.
I think if they did the wall on the West Coast and they were like, yeah, pedophilia is okay here, I think there would be like a giant mass exodus. Like families, I feel like would just be gone. Like they're
So
like, we gotta go.
The last
They're
time
gonna
Joe
fuck our
was
kids
on,
here.
families that
That's the
weren't
point.
so caught up in woke culture there's a certain kind of person who won't cross the street when they see a mob of dudes because they think that they're
Yeah.
going to be racist by doing that, and those are the kind of people who will be like, well, we'll stay, we believe these
Not
things,
everybody's
and then
gonna
their kids
fuck
get
our
fucked.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
So
like when I started following this, it was about like 12 years ago. What originally got me like really interested in the Luciferian Thelemic like subcults of the elite was a mutual acquaintance, former friend of Andrew and I's. He took me to a Thelemic ceremony at a bookstore called Hands of Time on Village Boulevard.
I know who you're
in
talking about. We get it. You like it. Go on.
Yes, exactly. So this person, brought me to this, and he did it with good intentions. He wanted to kind of show me like what he was into, and I, on that end, I could, be like, that's cool. That was a nice thing to share your spirituality, even if it's fucking weird to me. So when I went there, like I never thought that people really believed in magic, like as far as like black magic, white magic. I always thought like people that were into that shit were like divorcees and like fucking like kids that never saw sunlight and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, meeting these people, they're doing this ceremony and they're all kind of tranced out. And, I'm reading through the literature, and at one point they talk about doing communion. And the communion was this purple wafer and wine, and the purple wafer was supposed to represent, like basically like burnt and cooked children, and the blood of children, and it talked about like the essence, like and Thelimus, for people who are watching who are like, what are you fucking talking about? In 1907, Aleister Crowley, who was like the legit like head of the OTO and the Golden Dawn. Jimmy Page bought his house and stuff. Really fucking awful weird guy. He was a pedophile and also a sadistic torturer and killer. He probably spawned off like the Jimmy Sevilles and like that whole London, England, Hamburg, Germany elite, that circle. But Crowley's basically ate acid by the pyramids of Egypt, and his wife dictated him tripping, saying that he was possessed by the spirit called Aiwass. And Aiwass in the Book of the Law, which is the book that was transcribed while he was tripping, that his wife wrote down with him, was basically Aiwass, talking about how what the satanic Luciferian age would be. And basically what was in this book, and this book was published then in 1913, the same year as the Federal Reserve Act, oddly enough, right?
Yeah.
So
coincidence.
In the book, he talks explicitly. Aiwass, the thing that he's channeling, supposedly, starts talking about how we have to degrade the family and get rid of the family unit. We have to make women value vanity over anything else. And when you look at like the social media and the big push in Hollywood right after that, that was exactly what was happening. And they said, like, use the music, use the art, like everything is, and do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, is the whole credence of it's multiple times in the Book of the Law. You'll see this come up. And basically think about it. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love under will. That is the whole saying. So basically, if you want to fuck a kid, if you feel like fucking you get something from that, this book says that's fine. Wherever you derive your spiritual mojo from is cool with this book. And it's all about like perverting the word love, agape in Greek, to mean doing whatever the fuck you want. So it's trying to say that selfishness, living off the id is actually love. And it's fucking real disturbing, right? So this kid brings me to this thing, and I got real bad vibes from these people. I wouldn't do the crew. They got real pissed at me because I wouldn't eat the fucking communion wafer.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fucking ridiculous.
This story, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't drink alcohol, so I'm not drinking any wine. Yeah. They're like, we'll get you grape juice. So I'm like, oh, you're magicians with a fucking can of Welch's. I'm like, no, I'm good. Yeah. Fucking. So afterwards, I'm talking with these people, and what I realized was this: the group of people weren't necessarily bad people. So it wasn't like, when you think about a Luciferian evil cult or something like that, it wasn't like they were like, objectively at that moment terrible people. They're actually, fairly personable. The problem that I had, though, each of them was compensating for something. They were lost souls. And one thing that they all wanted was status and power. So, and I work in corporate America. I see it every day. People that are sociopaths, that the corporate ladder means more than people.
Right. And so that's what I was just going to say about this person who you discussed bringing you there. What I remember of this person was a degree of intensity and constantly taking themselves very, very seriously. And when you say this, people are like interested in status, that immediately, like, I can think right back to his personality and say, like, oh, like, I remember that aspect of him where it seemed important to him to be taken a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to be taken seriously as a guru of some sort. Yeah. And that's dangerous thinking in and of itself. Like, I have weird psychic moments, and like, dude, all the time I call shit out that's going to happen, and then it does. Like, the first time I saw Fauci's face, I had no idea who he was. I had no background. I looked at him for 2 seconds. I'm like, this guy's fucking evil. This is a bad person. It took me 1 second of my fucking guinea gut going, the Mallorca. I was like, okay, fucking, yeah. I feel it. I know what's up. And I said, you watch, in a week, Bernie's gonna drop out of the race and fucking endorse Sanders. And Shanna, my girl, looks at me and goes, "What? What does COVID have to do with that?" I go, "You watch." I'm like, this is gonna be the first way that they're gonna use it to distract people. Is all of a sudden Bernie, who's in the lead, he's out. And I'm not a Bernie booster, but I'm just saying, like, we have gut feelings, but like, I don't go around telling people I'm a fucking guru or I'm like some powerful psychic that knows everything. It's fucking.
You have some charm and shit as well. So like, the people that you have around you want to be around. You know what I mean? Like, there's a type of person who has to convince people that there's a reason to associate with them, and then there's a type of person that just is themselves, and people gravitate to that or not. And you're definitely the latter. As long as I've known you, I've never seen you as a person trying to sell. That's the other thing. When you talk to me about these, what people are, would call traditionally conspiracy theories, I've never seen you try and sell it. You know what I mean? Like, never once have you been like, listen, this is what you need to understand because X, Y, Z, and I can give you this for that, and you can. It's always just been like, hey, this is a thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I've always appreciated about your stance. It never feels like preaching, I guess is what it comes down to. It never feels like, because I know a lot of people who maybe believe similar things, but they're not, I don't know, maybe it's delivery. You know what I mean? Like, I never feel preached at.
Well, I guess, where I think a lot of problems in society stems from is groups, people picking sides and picking teams. And I don't have a team. My team is the truth, whatever it is. Like, if they find out that Donald Trump fucked his daughter, fucking, I would have sour feelings about him tomorrow, right?
That's what I try to tell people, too, because they're like, oh, you're just trying to suck Trump's dick all the time. And I'm like, I literally didn't say anything. It's really confusing to me. When I'm trying
that's
to
Trump
point out,
derangement syndrome.
That is that, and when I say that, I'm like, yo, man, like you're exhibiting like symptoms of TDS. They're like,
well, I think we've all seen it online.
Like they're the ones talking about Trump, and I'm.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like you don't have to mention Trump, but you'll get accused of being a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you go against the narrative, if you go against the official CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC narrative, you're automatically a Trump supporter.
And I'm like,
I actually have had a stance of not voting for the past, my whole adulthood. I voted once, and what I felt was the person who I voted for did a bunch of shitty things.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, you know what? I can't believe in representative government because I'm a complex person with a lot of deep thoughts on a lot of different things. Yeah. And a lot of this stuff I don't even feel is like the government's business. Like, I hate abortion. I don't like Planned Parenthood. But I don't feel like I should be the judge, jury, and executioner for something like that. Now, again, they kind of tie into this pedophilia, adrenochrome, organ harvesting, black market,
live baby harvesting.
Okay, so here's like this is the nitty gritty. This is what I want to hear. So the names we've heard so far, the Clinton family, obviously. We've heard about Trump's daughter was on the Lolita Express as a passenger several times.
Yeah, I don't know
we've
if you
heard
saw
about
that, Joey.
Ellen.
It was like
we've heard about
it was Trump's
the daughter and the in-law. He's been
his brother and his brother.
Yeah,
Trump's
they've been out a bunch of times.
And his wife and Trump's daughter and her husband, like they're on there more than Bill Clinton.
I was talking to my wife about it, and I was like, "Man, it's gonna fuck up some movies for some people. Some of these names.
I don't know
ruin
if
some funny flicks."
Yeah, I don't know if you pay attention to Trump at all, but like a year before Epstein was arrested, I don't know if you saw, it looked like he was kind of distancing himself from his daughter. Like she all of a sudden wasn't in the in the spotlight with him anymore. Like maybe he was privy to the information. He's like, wait a minute,
the man's a tactician.
I feel like he found out first that maybe he told her. He's like, hey, I'm getting ready to come down on this guy.
The man's a corporate tactician.
And all the people that went there, and he said that in a meeting with her, and she's like, hey, can I talk to you?
So guys, a few things happened. A few things happened that are very interesting with Epstein and the Trump family.
Okay.
One thing that people don't know is that Trump stole an investment deal from under Epstein.
I've heard that story both ways.
Epstein was going to go to the police and out Trump for fucking financial shit, right? Trump goes and outs him for the pedo shit. Now, I have two theories. Theory number one, because in 2015, Trump on TV, on record, said Epstein's Island is a fucking cesspool. Those were his words. Yep. And he has done more. So two things are either happening. He's either guilty, but he's like, I'm going to take the whole shit house down with me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or he got to experience it either, from finding out what his daughter and family might have been up to, or he might have,
or what they saw or whatever.
Because I went to a Thelemic temple, right? So someone might say Joey worships Thelema. He was with the Thelema people. And then all of a sudden, I'm lumped in with these fucking crazy people eating baby biscuits and drinking baby blood in a fucking bookstore, right?
Right.
So he could have went there, and just like I was like, these people are fucking crazy, and I'm going to talk about this as much as possible so these people know that, like, this clandestine shit, like, there's sunlight on it. And you never hear Thelema. And, the worship of Moloch comes
You
from.
hear about Moloch from only Alex Jones. He's the first person I ever heard discuss it, and then it became a lot more like discussed all of a sudden.
Well, think about this on Epstein's Island, right? Which is also 8 miles away from Biden's Island. Also has a submarine tunnel underneath, and Ghislaine Maxwell is a certified submarine fucking pilot. Okay, so on Epstein's Island is a movable statue of a cow that they have a worshiping pit for in the front of the island. So Moloch, like it's Luciferian, Saturnian, solar worship. Like think about coronavirus, corona, sun, crown.
Yeah.
Like just the symbology of what this fake flu that's fucking taking away our rights and making us fight amongst each other because like your neighbor is the enemy. Like it's a psyop. But the thing is to anybody who's never thought outside, like, for people that's why the movies are so crazy, right? That's why they give you the Matrix. The Matrix isn't to tell you the truth. It's to make you think that that's a fantasy. So that way when you start to bring these things up, you're like, oh, you watch the fucking Matrix too much, you dumbass.
Right.
That's what all this is fucking for.
It's funny that you say that. Around the time the Matrix came out, like I was just finished with high school, and I was starting to like really work out with people that I didn't know, and there were some guys that were like the age that we are now talking to me when I was like 17, 18, and it was like triggering things that my great grandfather talked to me about that I talked to you guys about the last time you were on, Joey, and I was like, oh yeah, this shit's real. Like one of the dudes got scared that I told him that like my great grandfather and his group of friends guarded Bohemian Groves or whatever from like the time that I can remember, and like he just quit. He didn't work with me anymore. Like he just quit that job, and I was like, okay, whatever, like. So this is shit that's like old. Like,
yeah, well, it's ancient, bro.
Yeah,
it's ancient. Like think about when Skull and Bones was formed in Yale and stuff, in Harvard. These are ancient societies that like date back to the House of Windsor, going back to Egypt, which really, the head of the snake, like, Les Wexner is really the head of the snake. Mossad.
This is the guy who handed Epstein all his dough, right?
Yeah.
He handed Epstein all of his dough, and he was also a pedophile. It was kind of like open that he was gay. He was like a fucking gay entrepreneur, fucking, venture capitalist and shit. I actually, so if your viewers want to check it out, there's www.documentcloud.org /documents.
Is that the link you shared recently?
Probably. So like we could share it in the YouTube comments or whatever, but this link was able to scrub through 2,000 emails at least of classified documents that are now unclassified. You have names like Epstein, Maxwell, the Podesta brothers, John and Michael, James Alefantis, Wiener, Les Wexner, fucking right at the top of the list, Herbert Strauss, Isidore Strauss, Steven Spielberg. You have
heard that about Spielberg. I've heard that a couple times about Spielberg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Allison Mack, Robert Maxwell, which is Ghislaine's dad, Naomi Campbell, Val Kilmer, Marina Abramovic, who is the spirit cooking fucking high priestess of the Thelemic cult.
She's the one who does all those like art expos that are supposedly like sacrificial mimicking.
Yes, spirit cooking is where they mix feces, blood, cum, child sacrifice. There's a lot of like breast milk. It's about bodily fluids and the energy that they have in them. It's kind of like a precursor to just straight up like harvesting adrenochrome from a child. You have names like Spielberg, Michael Jackson, Kevin Spacey, Allison Mack, David Geffen, Tom Hanks, Dustin Hoffman. And these are all the frequent flyers. These are people who have been on the island multiple times that the list I'm reading off of. You have the Weinsteins, both Bob and Harvey. You have Roman Polanski, Charlie Sheen, Madonna, Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus, Errol Flynn, Billy Graham, Walt Disney, Michael Laney, who's the former Walt Disney vice president who went down into pedophile sting a couple years ago, James Gunn, who's also another associate of Disney, in the deep state as far as
Isn't he the one that did the X-Men movies, James Gunn?
No,
that
he did
correct.
Tweets? He didn't do X-Men. He did
Transformers or
Guardians
of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
That was it.
And then he got like fired for tweets or whatever.
Yeah.
Heidi Klum.
Heidi Fleiss is also deep state CIA Mossad.
Oh yeah.
the people that run the cult are Allison Max, Stormy Daniels, Rachel Chandler, and Ghislaine Maxwell, according to the emails. Chris Tucker, frequent flyer, Bill Murray, frequent flyer. And these are all people throughout my life. Like I've told Andrew, I don't like Bill Murray. I hate Disney. I just don't these people are, and they're like, what are you talking? Like people have always been like, why don't you like? And I'm like, oh, there's just something creepy about these people.
Right.
When I was 5, my parents took me to Disney and I cried the whole time.
Can I tell you something weird about
my daughter and my wife and I went to Disney last year, and it was not. We were like, oh, we're not Disney people. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then the other thing too is there's a thing in Disney where people put their kid's name on the shirt. Like you get like custom Disney shirts made.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's your name, like first line. I mean, my wife's Jewish. I'm Cuban and Italian. Like, I don't put any bumper stickers on my car that say nothing about what I'm affiliated with or what I believe. Like, I don't put that shit out there. And like, people got their kid's name. Like, so some creep could just be like, "Hey, kid, that I already know 90% of what I need to know to coax you this away." Like, Disney was an uncomfortable feeling place. Like, it was not. It didn't feel good. And we're talking last November. That's how recently we were there.
Yeah, and I believe over 25 Disney employees in the last 5 years have went down in pedophile stings, including executives at Nickelodeon. I have another document that I could share, with your viewers that breaks down both on the Democratic and the Republican side, people that have been convicted of, pedophilia, child pornography, child trafficking. And you have Democrats, you have Republicans, you have one of Trump's former campaign managers. There's
so
a
it's
lot.
Like just rampant.
Yeah.
Well, think about it, bro. That's why, like I say to people, I'm like, dude, it's two wings of the same chicken. It's not even a bird at this point. It's a fucking stupid fucking chicken. And like, to say that it's one side or the other is selling the children, the victims, so short.
Yeah.
It's a network of fucking people that are really fucked in the head.
And this is why
That's crazy.
Like people. So there's some people that are like super like pro-Trump that also like read this shit. They're like, he was sent here from God to like kill all the pedophiles. I'm like, I don't think that was. I think that was like part of his reasoning for wanting to be president, and the other part was definitely like his general like.
I think what Joey said actually makes a lot of sense.
Ego
like where it's like, I've done some stuff, you've done some stuff, but if I'm going down, everybody's fucking coming.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things. But I
I'll burn
genuinely
this whole
think.
bitch with me in it. I don't care. Like,
Well,
I see that.
let me get to the point real quick here. So I think
Sure.
I think that he was like, yeah, all these people are going to come with me, right? These people are going to be in my staff and my cabinet. And then remember for like the first 2 years, he was just firing people and replacing people. And then like they'd come up and then they would start, working for him, and then he'd just get rid of them. Like in real weird circumstances, and people were like, "Oh, it's because they fucking hated working for him or whatever, or they were talking shit about him." I think because when you become the president, they sit you down and like they're like, "Here's all of the information," right?
Yeah, sure. I'm sure you get a hell of a hell of a briefing.
Exactly, and that's got to last for a while. And then I think like he just started hiring people, assuming they were good people that he knew, and then he's like, "Oh, they're on the list too. Well, bye." Like,
Well, to a degree, so that may be true, and I definitely appreciate that logic train. And one thing that Trump did do is a few days ago he signed an executive order that the mainstream media has blocked. But basically, it would transfer all of the assets of anyone involved in child trafficking or human trafficking or exploitation. So basically, like if you're a Hollywood executive, if you're a politician, if you're Wayfair, and you get caught, they will seize your assets, which is, with the list that we have, I calculated into the, quintillions.
Is he gonna get rid of the debt by
busting pedophiles?
Oh.
That's his fucking play.
Oh.
So I think
that would be some gangster
and again, this is a military operation, and this is why you're not hearing it on the news.
Man.
And this is verifiable. He did sign this, and again, like you're not going to see it on mainstream media because who's going to fucking root against that, right?
Right.
Because I think most people, even if you're a fucking Antifa communist, you probably don't want to eat or fuck or kill babies.
Yeah.
I at least fucking feel that. Like as fucked up as
you gotta fucking hope
Americans.
Goddamn.
And you feel
Americans with like American values.
And I feel bad for them too, because they don't know how they've been played their whole life. Like when I went to school, I rebelled against everything because thank God I had a good gut that made me feel like shit's bullshit. Like, why aren't you teaching me how to balance a checkbook?
Yeah.
You know, like fucking trying to make me feel bad about slavery when my fucking family was in Italy fucking stomping on grapes. Like fucking like
Yeah.
I remember that when they went through the slavery shit when I was 14. They were making us try to like any white kids in the class, they're like making us try to feel bad. And I'm like I don't fucking I'm like if anyone in this room or your relatives were a slave, I'm sorry, but otherwise like I don't feel bad for the Moors fucking, invading Italy. Like I didn't suffer that. Like how
Yeah.
how are you suffering for something you have nothing to do with? It's like, like I have Jewish friends that get really uptight about the Holocaust, and I'm like, I get it, but at the same time, like you didn't suffer through that. It's something horrible, but for you to take like personal offense, like it's something you went through, is kind of nuts. Like I'm sure it's touched people in your family, but like 9/11 happened. But if someone makes a 9/11 joke, my brother was fucking down there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think it's circumstantial, right? Because there's times if I like saw somebody in a Che Guevara shirt that I might not care, and then there's times that I maybe might want to say something to him about it. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's two
a person's
things.
head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
like,
two
going
things,
into that
though.
moment.
That's two different
Well, think
things.
about how hard it is. Think about how hard it is to convince a brainwashed person that they're brainwashed, right?
Oh, right,
So that's why I
Yeah.
don't engage in that. I just post what I post. If anyone argues, I just say that they eat pudding with their bare hands, or that their fucking IQ is their shoe size, and I move on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, cause because I don't care to convert you because it's not going to work. What
Yeah.
will work is if we out a bunch of pedophiles and they see it's across the board, and if Don is the one but like. Once people realize that, people at CNN, people at MSNBC, people at
you're
Fox, people at
watching.
Disney,
that are
once
reporting the news to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when they
they're
realize
those
that these people have ties to pedophilia or
Yeah.
engage in child pornography, like that's when I think those people at least wake up to like, oh, this BLM or like fucking like all lives matter, like all this shit, all this divisiveness
distraction.
doesn't mean a damn thing because 800,000 kids in just the United States go missing
Mhm.
every year. That's a
crazy.
staggering number of children. That's staggering.
That's
And like
crazy.
fucking they have us fucking talking about shit like the courthouse about like who fucking cares? Fucking more kids get fucking affected by child pornography, child trafficking, child molestation, predators than COVID deaths by a staggering amount, by 8 times. So while everyone's like, oh, you're not wearing your fuck you. Like fucking, but your priorities are fucked up. So the only thing that's gonna make it better is
Right.
if it comes
What
out.
epidemic is being focused on? Like, really, like
That's
that-
more people than died in the Civil War.
Yeah, that's
And that's
every
staggering. As
year,
a
man.
parent,
And-
that's terrifying. That's,
and that's-
horrifying.
the most deaths happened of Americans was the Civil War, and more kids go missing than the amount of people that died in the Civil War every year. That's crazy.
So think about all those
Wow.
kids, man. Like fucking, like I don't care what you want to do with your body as a woman. I don't care who you want to fuck. I don't
Yeah.
care how you want to live. I care about
Yeah.
my freedoms, and I care about fucking people that are victimized that can't do anything about it. And the parents that sell their kids into this system, like the Hollywood people or the people that just bring their kid up to Joe Biden to fucking smell on a podium with cameras, like it's a fucking normal thing to put his hands on their breasts, to put their hands on their stomachs in front of fucking the family. It's like a power play.
That's
It-
the
it-
weirdest shit watching those Biden videos, and they're like, I just those are the ones that really blow my mind too, because it's like, who brings their kid to Michael Jackson's fucking house? Like, who
I pray
does
for
that?
I pray for a day they bring back the guillotine and they put all these motherfuckers in Times Square and they just fucking shut all the fucking lights and the advertisements
Whoa.
off and just let heads roll. Put it on pay-per-view.
Whoa!
Put it on pay-per-view for $60 in November
You just
after
said
Trump wins
something.
the election.
You just said something
What?
that made me think of what Trump said before he was president. I could kill a man in the middle of Times Square and still win the election.
He did
What
say
if
that shit.
what if he's gonna do that? Like he's gonna
I
win?
would throw a fucking party and invite you guys over.
I'd
He's
come.
gonna
I'd
win.
fly in for that.
He's gonna win. He wouldn't even put it on pay-per-view. He'd just be like, "This is TV today.
I'd probably drive. I like guns.
This
I
is
don't like
TV
fly.
today."
That would be. Listen, if there's any group of people
I've
that I've
said
ever
that.
felt like should be eradicated, it's fucking people who hurt children.
Oh, yeah.
If you hurt children, old people, or animals, there's like a special kind of angry that makes me. I don't know why. Maybe
Now,
like you said, the helplessness. Like,
now I have a real big issue with something that I've kind of seen for the past 3 years, kind of becoming more prevalent, and it's something to where I almost feel like you lose your rights as a human at that point, and I hope a law gets enacted. But people are trying to normalize and basically back up pedophiles.
Yeah,
dude,
There's,
I've seen a
there's
lot
TED
of
talks.
this.
There's TED talks where this woman's saying that we need to understand pedophiles, give them a
that's their
safe place.
worst TED Talk too, like their lowest rated TED Talk, which gives me
You
Of
know,
hope
course,
for
it's
like
their lowest
humans.
rated TED Talk.
It gives me
It's
hope for.
lunacy.
I know, but it gives me hope for humans, like,
Yeah,
which is
well,
good.
I think most of us feel like that's an abhorrent thing, which is why I feel like as a
it's
unifying
the
force,
worst shit
that's the
ever.
one thing I think if they legalize weed or if they fucking like free the kids, one of those two things is gonna fucking help bring people together on both sides of the issues, right? Those are two
Yeah,
things that I think both sides fucking, see, like, the drug war doesn't work
yeah,
and fucking kid like so there needs to be unifying fucking factors here in order for America to fucking remain a country together
Sure,
united, right?
sure.
But the normalization of pedophilia is one of the most maddening
Evil,
things, and
evil.
it's at the point that in front of me, like I'm not sure I could calm myself down. Like that's the one time where I feel like you have to
we forgot
engage. That person
yesterday about
should
this
be
topic.
fucking embarrassed and fucking called out. Like I'm
They
not
should
like a
be
big
hurt.
fan
They should be
of the
hurt.
whole,
Yeah,
but like I've met so many people and like really close to home, like that have been raped by family members,
Yeah,
raped by
I know.
neighbors, raped by teachers, and the
So it
only
made
thing
my
I think
skin
when I
hot.
listen to that is fucking if I was there, or if I knew, and like I would be fucking putting a baseball bat through somebody's fucking head.
yeah.
And I really think that people that are pushing something as dangerous as that should be fucking like considered, maybe not national emergency, but there should be a thing like, shoot on sight. These
Yeah.
people like fucking you're saying it's okay for a grown person, male or female, to engage in a fucking sexual relationship with a child, and that we should understand that. You should be put down because I know thoughts aren't dangerous, but yeah, that's a real dangerous thought
Let
to
me.
start normalizing that. And then the Disney movies that normalize sex for kids at a young age. I
Yeah.
remember going to The Lion King when I was 7 years old. And I
Hmm.
was with a bunch of other kids and my mom and all the other moms and shit. And when fucking Simba started fucking flirting with his cousin and then they like insinuated that they fucked,
Yeah.
I went to my mom. I go, "Why is Simba doing stuff with his cousin?" And my mom goes, "What are you talking?" I'm like, and she goes, "Oh." And I'm like, "This movie's bad." And I just like put my head into the seat. My mom was like, "My son's an 85-year-old man." Like she's like, "Why would you pick that out of all?" And the other kids like thought I was nuts because I just buried my head into like the fucking seat
Yeah.
and just didn't want to see anymore. And like the covers of Rapunzel, the hair spells sex.
Mhm.
There's the cover of
Little
the
Mermaid.
Little Mermaid with the
It's
dick on
all
it.
dick. It's not just
Um,
one. There's like a bunch.
there's at least 16 examples that I have photo document
Yeah. Yeah.
evidence of. And in Aladdin he says take off your clothes. It's
Yeah.
a subliminal fucking little. But when the tiger's pushing Aladdin off of the balcony and Jasmine's in her room in her like nightgown thing and the fucking genie and the parrot are down below
Yeah.
trying to do like Cyrano de Bergerac with him.
Yeah,
When he gets back onto the balcony, you don't see his face. You see Jasmine. You just hear really low, take your clothes off, like that. And it's in a lot of their movies. You hear these little fucking let's have sex, like little tiny fucking
well, look
the
at these kids who are Disney stars. Lindsay Lohan. Like, there's nobody who comes out of that world. Britney Spears. Nobody comes out of that world unscathed.
because you're
So
getting passed on a lazy Susan by a
yeah.
bunch of fucking children's programming has such a sheen of creepiness to it. I remember the day when I watched Sesame Street from the like 70s, 80s versus like a new one, and there's definitely a change in the vibe.
Do you
There's
think?
definitely a change in the vibe
Do you
and the
think?
message.
Do you think Tom
There's no
Hanks?
current day Mr. Rogers for sure.
I was actually just gonna go to Mr. Rogers. Do you think Tom Hanks playing Mr. Rogers is the same way? Like they're trying to make fun of him, being like,
Yes.
they're like, look, a pedophile is playing you, you dead fuck, right? Like this
Yes,
same way,
100%.
yeah,
Like spit in his eye.
the same way Andrew Jackson is on a Federal Reserve note of the 20. They're like, look, you're on the most fucking used piece of paper that represents the Federal Reserve, you dumb fucking asshole. You tried to
They
stop us 40 years before we got established, but fuck you. Like, we're still here. Everybody sees your fucking face. We beat you. You're dead, motherfucker. Like, I feel like
yeah,
that's the reason why he's on the 20, and that's the reason Tom Hanks was playing Mr.
yeah,
Rogers.
So what
100%.
is the
Like,
Tom
we
Hanks
won.
story? Because this is the one that I
So
only heard about like this year.
So SRC USA. So this is one that I love to talk about because you can go look it up on his Instagram unless he's erased this now. So on TV, and I could send you guys a video. I probably already sent it to you guys where you could maybe isolate the clip. But basically, Tom Hanks is on Conan and he's going through his quirk of going. He likes to take pictures of singled out pieces of clothing that are abandoned places, usually children's gloves or a shoe, a little girl's shoe, a little girl's pant, and like on a random couch that's by the garbage in Los Angeles, or a random little boy's glove that's in the middle of the desert. Well, when they were scrolling through his pictures, there was a little boy in a little masquerade mask. You know, the ones that they use at orgies and stuff, like the
Yeah.
little fucking Mardi Gras masks. They skipped past that one without saying anything really quick. And then the next picture is a glove on a street, and painted on the street is SRC USA. So we went and we looked through Google, SRC USA. Is there anything that, links this? No. We went on DuckDuckGo, SRC USA. Nothing. Go on Yandex, the Russian
Yeah.
Google. On Yandex, if you type in SRC USA and you go to images, you get hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of pictures and videos of child pornography. Hundreds of thousands of little kids fucking, and the tags in it: pizza, yummy, $1,000, links to where you can fucking order the kid. Okay?
Yeah, that's Tom Hanks.
Why would Tom Hanks have a picture of a little kid's glove just isolated in the middle of a street? And why would there be spray painted there SRC USA? And the picture before that was a little boy in a masquerade. They hide it in plain sight to desensitize you. It's fucking classic. It's classic Schrodinger. It's like they just went through old fucking psychology textbooks and are pulling out the same tricks that fucking the CCCP and fucking all these other motherfuckers use to fucking MK Ultra people.
Yeah.
You get used to it. You get desensitized. Like, look at how many people are desensitized to violence just from since the advent of video games. Like, it's undeniable there's more shootings since video games have came out because it's not as bothersome to someone's fucking psyche to go shoot people when they've done it fucking 10 million times on the phone. Like, I play video games, and for some people with a weak mind who play these games at a young age, they lose their fucking because they have no problem, so once they get frustrated with real people, like they get frustrated with the NPCs in the game, they have no problem taking out their vengeance, and there's always free lives. And I know it sounds fucking crazy, and this is something I would have disagreed with myself with like fucking 5-10 years ago, but there's a trend. When you just go look at numbers and then you look at what happens in society and the zeitgeist of humanity correlating with those dates and times, you start to see these patterns. And my mind, with my profession, is all about pattern recognition. So when I see fucking dots, I don't arbitrarily connect them. I actually want to figure out why they connect, right? Everything needs to make sense. And what's so sad about all this is it makes sense. And what really gets me is when you go to like the head of the snake, right? When you go to like Les Wexner, Mossad, Robert Maxwell, the reason why Epstein, who is also a documented Mossad spy, as well as Ghislaine Maxwell, documented Mossad spy, they both work for Mossad. They're both Israeli spies. The reason why they're so tight with our elite and why they have this, child trafficking, child sex, and this like weird religion that they get people duped into is for brownstoning operations. It is a fucking FBI CIA term. It is real. You can look into this stuff. Brownstoning is where you get someone to fuck a kid or do something really indecent on fucking camera in order to blackmail them. Exactly. So what ends up happening is you get some people that are like, let's say, decent people who get mixed up with these folks, and you say, I'm gonna fucking say something. They drug you. They put you in a room with
And
a
you
fucking
wake up
little
next
kid.
to a dead body.
And no, you
Yeah.
fucking they take pictures of you with a little kid with your dick
you know-
out and shit, and they pose you, and then they fucking show you those pictures when you come to and go, well, we have video of you fucking a little kid, we have fucking pictures of it,
So
and you're fucked.
yeah, you just described literally the entire series on Netflix called Happy. I don't know if you've seen it. Um,
I have not.
so people,
Isn't it Patton Oswalt in that?
that's what I was gonna ask you about.
supposed
Like,
to be one
it's
of these
literally,
creeps?
yeah, it's literally about like this guy finds out he's got a kid, and the kid's imaginary friend like comes to find him because she's been kidnapped and is getting ready to be like sold into like sex slavery, right? And the dad's like
It's based on a graphic novel.
yeah,
honestly.
which is it's really it. The thing is like it literally is like showing you that like this. It's showing everything that you're talking about. But here's what confuses me. Like it was recently canceled though. Like it was like one of the highest rated shows on Netflix.
Because
And-
Patton's
and sci-fi.
nervous.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
a pedophile.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like he's the voice of the imaginary friend, and all of a sudden,
Yep.
like it's like one of the highest rated shows on Netflix, and it got canceled and not renewed for a third season.
So
It was
There's
very
a background to that show. Do you guys know Dan Harmon,
Yeah,
Rick and
yeah.
Morty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan Harmon's
Pedophile
original
kid.
pilot was so he had a pilot where basically this is before Rick and Morty, where he would break into people's houses and fuck their kids.
Yeah.
And you can go watch this. So basically, Harmon himself would come into the window, and there'd be like a baby doll on the couch or in a crib, and he would, blurt out his dick, but he would be fucking them or making them suck his dick, and that was his pilot. And kind of like circling back into Patton Oswalt. Patton Oswalt, if you go on his Twitter, he talks about how he is a pedophile and how
Oh,
he
yeah,
thinks
yeah.
that bullying pedophiles is bad. How
What?
you need to,
yeah,
dude,
that's
Patton
actually
Oswalt
a
is
big thing.
shit.
Yeah.
And Dan Harmon from Rick and Morty is a fucking pedophile.
He's
Fucking-
got kids, fucking Patton Oswalt, doesn't he?
A lot of them have kids, and a lot of them sell their kids into this shit.
Yeah.
Like, fucking look at Miley Cyrus. You don't think Billy Ray Cyrus didn't let that girl loose with people? You didn't think he fucking
Yeah.
for that fame for his mullet to
Yeah.
fucking "Achy Breaky Heart" was not a good song. How do you think he got on the fucking radio?
Man, that's just
There's-
so dark.
And it's been for years and years, man. The Jackson brothers. Why do you think Michael was so fucked up, and why that circle of abuse repeated? Fucking, if he wasn't getting molested by his dad, you know that they were letting, like, Michael, you do whatever the man says. Like fucking the sisters,
Oh.
everybody. Every child
Oh.
star fucking ends up fucked up. And what do you think it's
Yeah.
because they got too much money and found coke? Fuck that. I had too much money and found coke when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't get my fucking pee-pee touched by people I trusted my whole life and then told I was a piece of shit for it and shut my fucking mouth or I'd never have anything again.
Yeah.
Fucking, or that my parents would get hurt. I didn't have to live with that. So I fucking, you know what I mean? So like fucking,
It's true.
it's
So
sick
fucked up.
fucking sister. And then people laugh at fucking like Corey Feldman makes crazy music because he got fucked up as a kid.
Yeah.
And so people dismiss him because of his weird Essential Millennium fucking video and his horrible music videos. But meanwhile, the guy's spitting the truth about fucking
Yeah,
all
yeah.
these fucking stars in Hollywood. But like
The only
they-
problem with him is he keeps asking for 10 million.
No,
to
no.
drop
Did
a
you
name.
see? No, he stopped. He stopped because what's his face? The
Cappy?
the guy that got. Oh, whoa! I just
Isaac
connected
Cappy.
some. No, I just connected some shit.
oh shit.
Fucking, he was on Good Morning America or whatever
Matt Lauer?
with Matt Lauer, who right after he was like, "Why do you need $10 million? Why? Just tell us a name. Just tell us a name." And he was like, "Okay, I'll give you a name." He gave him one name, and then Matt Lauer was all of a sudden fired for like sexually assaulting an assistant.
Yep.
I just put that shit together. That's crazy, right?
Well, you know
Dude,
about the guy Isaac Cappy, right? The guy
Yeah,
who worked
Isaac
with
Cappy.
Seth Green.
He just started giving up
Yeah.
more names, and then after
Yeah.
that, and then
all of
after
a
that,
sudden he got thrown off a bridge or some shit.
yeah, but then after that too, Corey Feldman
Yeah,
went
the
on
overpass.
Dr. Oz and like had the names, and he was like, "Here's the names." This kid already fucking suicided
Wasn't there
himself.
some weird association from Tom Hanks to Cappy, like where he took a picture of something in
Yeah.
an area that Cappy was killed or some shit? Like,
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. He went to the spot where he was killed and took one of his glove pictures.
but like a day before or whatever. Like,
Yes, he
something like
he
that.
basically
but it wasn't
again
even a glove. It was
Hanks-
like roadkill or something. He was
Hanks-
like famous
yeah.
roadkill or some shit like that.
Hanks is obsessed with The Secret in Plain Sight. He thinks it's neat. He loves that whole like that like no one gets the like. It's kind of like why I like obscure films. I'm like like Buckaroo Banzai. Like no one gets what's going on except the guy who wrote Buckaroo Banzai. Even the actors didn't know what was going on. They constantly asked like, "What was this scene about?" It's kind of like the same thing. Like he's just having a ball. Like like fucking. It's kind of like if you're wearing someone's stolen necklace in front of them and you're like, "This dumb fuck." You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the mentality, and that's their mentality. They don't look at us as people. At Bohemian Grove, they have the cremation of care. Who do you think that cares for? Us. It's the care of us. So all those motherfuckers, and like, look, that fucking thing that our acquaintance took me to, they spoke about if you're not in, you're a dog. And it says it in the book of the law. If you are not a follower, you are a subhuman dog. And whatever it's kind of like how Mossad, the leader of Mossad, at one point on camera said, he goes, "We intend to enslave humanity, just like we have the Goyim that fucking turns the lights on Saturday, and they want to be slaves." He goes, and that's really the thing, is they want to be slaves. And that's the sick mentality that these fucking people have. And you know what's going to stop it?
That's elitist shit, huh?
You know what's going to stop it? A fucking gallows pole with their fucking heads on it. Pikes. Fucking bringing back the guillotine.
Now, Jojo, you know I've been saying this about Congress and all these old fucks for years. We need a couple of heads on pikes to change shit. We're not going to have any change until there's some heads go on pikes. It's not going to happen. We're too comfortable.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, dude, like a lot of states won't even do the death penalty. It's like this guy killed 5 children. We can't just get rid of him. We have to fucking pay 40 grand a year so he can fucking eat shit and sleep. Fuck you. Like, there's people that are soft as baby shit that don't realize that, like,
I don't know if it was you or whoever posted the meme where it's like inmates do more for child trafficking and child abuse than the state ever has or whatever. That was you, That was a great meme.
You guys both shared it. I was like,
fucking great, because it's true.
Yeah, man.
It's true. That's the only place where the culture is reviled as it should be.
And that's the place where they send people to get rid of them too, like for no reason. Not no reason, but like unfairly, they're stuck in there for so long that's the only place they know. And then they're like, send some not famous pedophiles there. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, like when the worst people in your society look at that thing as the worst thing to do, it's and
like adult rapists will kill a pedophile, and they have no problem violating another human, and they'll kill a pedophile.
In many cases,
that's like serial killers will kill a pedophile, like, and because they look down on it, like it's their.
Well, they got derogatory terms for them in jail too. They call them short eyes and shit like that. Like guys who fucking, there's people who that's their whole shit in jail. There's guys who know they're gonna be in there for life, and that's their like. Well, you know what? All I can derive pleasure from now is if somebody fucked up kids, I'm fucking them up.
Yeah, they know they can't go out and be good people. So as long as they're in there, like there's the level of crime.
I get it. I get it. If I'm 35 years old, if they sentenced me to 50 with no parole, that's it. Yeah. That's where you're at. Like that's it. It's over. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
even the guys that get fucked in jail, they're like, "You, bitch, come fuck up this pedophile." They're like, "Listen," they're like, "All right, let's fucking do this." Like all of a sudden, it's a weird like Joey, you were saying, like it's a unifying thing. Like it really. Even the worst, like you said, of our society is like, no, we're all kind of unanimous on that. Yeah, let's just fucking kill them.
Are you guys aware of a group called the Abolitionists?
Yeah, I am.
So they're guys that have been rescuing kids from child pornography and child sex rings and prostitution rings.
That's awesome.
Former military, former police, all fucking like geetus, fucking bad motherfuckers, going to other countries, fucking setting up elaborate stings, taking down whole operations. They're all tentacles of the same beast, right? But one of the things that I think we should float around, and I think if we brought this to the right fucking company, it would blow up. We get like True Crime Daily or one of those fucking like Perverted Justice, TCAP. What we do is we have To Catch a Predator, but an MMA fighter or a fucking like a fucking Roman gladiator,
just like
You know what I mean? Like a world
What's up?
class boxer.
Why are you here? Why are you
Like
here? But he's
Diaz
like getting
brother.
ready to fight you.
Yeah.
The guy walks in and it's like, whoa, you trying to fuck our sister? What? And then fucking
Yeah.
Nick and Nate Diaz put that dude, and then like they
Oh.
fucking hold him up in front of the camera,
That would
all
be good.
bloodied up and shit, and then be like next and fucking and then on repeat. It would be great PR for all the people beating up pedophiles.
Yeah.
Like fucking dude, you remember
know-
when Conor McGregor fucking redeemed himself by killing
Lit
3
up that
pedophiles
pedo?
on
Yeah,
pay-per-view?
yeah.
Fuck yeah, that
Yeah.
guy's awesome. Like that's like we should almost make fucking entertainment out of punishing real evil people,
You know
and then people start to fucking see like, oh, it's good to make sure that bad people
You're
are put in
literally
their fucking place,
yeah.
and that they're ridiculed and treated like shit because they were gonna do this to either your sister, my sister, your little brother,
Your
my
kid,
little brother.
yeah. Fucking-
So TCAP with fucking like world class fighters, military. You get some fucking Krav Maga fucking instructor. When someone walks in, he just snaps their neck. Next,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm here to pick up Becky. Next, I'm here to pick up little Steve. I'll go. Next, you know, like that's
You're
the
literally
kind of
talking to the Stockton in me. So I think like the first season should be like the Diaz brothers.
Diaz bros. You
Like
get
one
boss
of them,
rooting.
yeah, like one of them
You
comes
gotta
through
get
the
an
door.
angry, a righteously rageful
Yeah.
beast of a dad.
Exactly.
Yoel
That's what
Romero,
you need.
bro.
Yoel
Romero.
No, oh,
He would be terrifying.
You should get the Diaz brothers to walk through the door. They should be the hosts of the show. And they're like, sit down for a second. Like, because you know how, like, they're that kind of tough guy. They're like, they want to tell you what's about to happen to you.
Nah, they're just gonna be like, hey, what's up? What the fuck?
No,
What's
like,
up?
no.
What are you doing? What
Yeah.
the fuck are you doing over here, bro?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
up? What the
But it's
fuck?
like that.
What's up? But
And
it's
then-
like the same, like,
No.
6 words.
Chael
Yeah.
Sonnen is the host.
Yeah.
Chael Sonnen
Chael
would be the
Sonnen.
perfect host.
That-
You have Chael Sonnen and
Yes.
Joe Rogan.
Oh,
They
man.
come out and they're like, what are you doing, bro? And then they let them leave. But then, like, on the other end of the front
Yeah, as soon
door.
as they walk out the door, it's like
No, no.
Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, as soon as they open the door, like, could you imagine
Yeah.
that? They're like, "Oh, I dodged a bullet." They open the door, and the mountain of Yoel Romero is there, and he's
Yeah.
like, he's like, "Get
Even though he doesn't
Jesus,
say
Jesus,
shit.
Jesus,
Yeah,
going to,
yeah.
I'm
Don't
going to fuck
forget
you.
Jesus.
Don't forget
They get,
Jesus.
Joe,
Get
they get
Jesus."
Joey Diaz and Dog the Bounty Hunter to fucking be the drivers after
Right.
the beating to drive
The
to jail.
commentary.
Joe Diaz going, "Oh, you fucked up, buddy. You fucked up real bad,
And
buddy.
he's
I know.
slapping him a
You
couple.
fucking tranny.
Yeah.
Fucking tranny. Why you gotta
Yeah.
fuck a kid?
You can't
And then
fuck with
fucking
kids.
Dog
You can't
the Bounty,
fuck with
you need
kids.
fucking Jesus, bro.
And
You
they're
need fucking
both,
Jesus, bro.
and they're
Baller.
both, yeah, and they're both fucking reaching back and backhanding him a couple times.
Yeah, I don't think Jesus does it for pedophiles, man. I think they need. I said this on one of the last episodes.
Yeah.
You pick the state that needs the most relief, and then you build like a giant building, like a building-sized
Mhm.
like blast furnace.
Yeah.
And every month, all the people who've been convicted of pedophilia just get heaved into the blast furnace. You do it in like Detroit or Wyoming where they
Yeah.
need jobs. And then you just got a giant blast furnace and you film it from all angles with drones. And it's like an event. People go out with their drones and film it when you drop the pedos into the blast furnace. Like a man-made rage volcano.
You know
And
who
you
needs
just
to?
push them all in.
You know who needs to fund this? Is Kanye, because Kanye is like in danger. No, like Joey probably agrees with me here. Like he's in danger because the Kardashians are a part of that pedophile machine, and
Yep.
he's trying to not be a part of that. And you know his personality is he cannot be quiet once he knows something, you know. And he just and they're trying to.
You don't
make
think he
him-
already knows and is having trouble? Like, that's
No.
why he's having so many, like, perceived breakdowns and shit?
No,
'Cause he already
that's the
knows?
thing. They're not breakdowns. He's like if you heard him saying what all the things that Joey just said, you would be like, oh, Kanye's having a breakdown. But because you know Joey and he's not famous, you're like, okay, this shit's legit. There's nothing different between what he's saying, you know, what the stuff that he's trying
I think the
to say.
delivery's a little different because Kanye comes from a weird place sometimes.
No, like,
you know?
but it's not the way it's cut from him.
No,
looks-
that's fair. Yeah, that's
they're,
fair.
they're making him look like crazy and manic, like, and
Did
That's
you
the
watch the
move.
whole hour though? Because he
Of-
was pretty crazy and manic through that whole hour.
I'm not
There was
talking
like
about
20
that.
minutes.
I'm talking about
Okay,
his
okay,
tweets.
in general.
Like his tweets
Okay.
aren't tweeting isn't a manic thing. Like, you know, that's not yeah, his hour long video, yeah. He was flirting with the edge of like going
But it's
full
like,
on
how many
manic.
people give you the real when you're that guy? Like, everybody around
But I
him is looking
think-
at him as a paycheck. They're looking
I
at him as a
think
bag.
But no, when you get Joey was talking about this, when you get to a certain level, like you're like in, and he's been the biggest, like the largest musician in the world for many years, you know. So like, there's no way he's not in it. There's no way he's. Listen, dude, when I was editing for like a Spielberg subgroup, I was invited to the weird sex parties, like where that you see like Lady Gaga at, that where they're eating people, you know. And I was just like my buddy and I when we would go to them, I'd be like, oh man, this is like $10,000 caviar, and we would just eat all the caviar, and then people are like, you're not gonna join in, and we're like, no, we're leaving. Like it's whatever. That's you get invited at the lowest level of like entertainment to see if you're like one of us kind of thing, you know. And he's been in it forever, you know. He worked for fucking for Jay-Z, who's married to Beyonce, which is like the biggest like distraction puppet in
Who
entertainment,
both
you know.
who both wear do what thou wilt clothing
Yeah,
often.
that's what I'm saying. He was literally a music writer, and this is why I have respect for I don't know if you know the producer Just Blaze. He like all the big stuff off the Blueprint. Like that's I think that's the album. I don't know, like before the Blueprint that everybody loved by Jay-Z, that was all Just Blaze. Like he left after that, and then all of a sudden Kanye was like the head writer dude for him, you know? And like he does kind of his own thing and is not famous anymore all of a sudden. And he's actually like one of the most talented producers in my opinion in hip hop. And but he doesn't associate with those people anymore. He doesn't associate with any of them, and because of that, it's like I'm like a fan. I hate rap and hip hop, but like I'm a fan of him, not
As
for
a
that
producer.
as a producer because like he uses real instruments. He plays.
Yeah.
He's an amazing musician. He like plays every instrument like
Right
almost
on.
as good as Prince. And then if
And
he's
this is a
almost
guy
as
who
good as
failed.
Prince,
Now that's a thing that
he's almost as
it's
good
a
as
question.
Prince.
You know what I've noticed
Nobody
over
knows
the
who he is.
course of the last year or two, maybe, is like these little internet things where it'll be like, so and so, you don't see them in Hollywood anymore. How
Yeah.
come? And there's been like a lot of articles of like, well, he didn't,
He
like
didn't
do
drink the
things.
blood.
Yeah, like Mike Myers, Brendan Fraser. There's like a few of them where it's like they're saying like he didn't play the game.
Rick
And now
Moranis.
he's out in the rain. Rick Moranis was a big one. That was the one where he was like, I'm getting my kids and getting out.
Yeah, they moved
That was his
out
whole
of
sentiment
America
always.
back to Canada.
Yeah.
And then his wife died. And he was like, never again. 40 years later, he's thinking about coming back to the new Ghostbusters movie. Thinking about it.
It's crazy, bro.
That's like the only thing that maybe he might come back for.
That's
Hey,
that's
guys.
right there.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Good.
I just got forwarded something from a source of mine.
Ooh.
So President Trump is asking everyone to forward an email, and this is what he's claiming why they're fighting back against every single thing he does. He's putting together legislation, Congressional Reform Act, number 2018, no tenure, no pension. So basically, we get rid of tenure and pension
For Congress?
from
Yeah.
from Congress. So
Good.
they would get no perks, they would get no pay afterwards. Congress would only be able to participate in Social Security. All funds in the Congressional Retirement Fund will move to Social Security immediately.
Oh, wow.
All future funds flow into the Social Security system. Congress participates with the American people and cannot be used for any other purpose. 3. Congress must purchase their own retirement plan, just like all Americans do. 4. Congress will no longer vote themselves a pay raise. Congressional pay will rise
Oh, they're gonna kill him, dude.
by the lower of CPI.
Is that why
or-
people are saying he's going to get killed this month?
Yes.
They're gonna kill him. That
Um,
right there, they're gonna kill him. You're
Oh,
talking
it
about
gets
a bunch of
it gets better.
entrenched millionaires. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
It gets
Oh, it
better.
gets better, dude. Congress loses their current health care system and participates in the same health care system, Obamacare. Congress must equally abide by all laws they impose on the American people, i.e., no more insider trading. All contracts with past and present congressmen and women are void. The American people did not make a contract with Congress people to continue to pay them. Congress made all of these contracts bind for themselves. They're serving Congress and not the American people. The founding fathers envisioned citizen legislators that would serve their term and then go home and back to work. Not all kinds of freebies and lifelong politicians. No wonder they're fighting me on everything I try to do.
Wow. Holy shit.
See, I think I've talked to you like way before we started the show, Andrew, when I would tell you how, you know, like I grew up in that political family, so like I knew all like the bullshit
The game.
and like the
yeah.
game and like how they kill
Sure.
you or they politically assassinate you like they did Nixon.
Yeah. They
and
try and
stuff
break
like
you
that.
down in some
Yeah,
way. Some
exactly. So like I told you this, the only way you can fix the system from the presidents point of like standpoint would to be do what Kennedy did, which he got killed for, which is he literally just played like he saw how terrible it was from a young age, right? Because his dad was terrible, just like Trump's dad was terrible, right? And probably saw like they're almost paralleling at this point, you know, to where like you have to just go, you play the game till you get to the top, and then at the top, when you're at the top, you're like, I have some bad news. I was just faking it, and
the two events that I've always heard that are blamed for Kennedy's assassination are, one was when he made that speech about abolishing secret organizations.
Yeah.
And then
Joey
also
pasted the text from that on one of his Facebook accounts, right?
Sure. And then also though after the Bay of Pigs, that was another big one.
Yeah. So like, and I know like a lot of Cubans traditionally hate Kennedy for like that and for a lot of other things, but I mean honestly, I don't even think that may have been him like personally. I think that may have been like that may have been the lead up to like him like, oh, people didn't fucking go ape shit and want him impeached. After that, well, we just fucking kill him, you know? Like that was and
so here's what happens if they kill him. Pence.
Yes, that's why
and
he
Pence
picked Pence.
Pence will send the military to kill everybody.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, okay.
Pence always looks like he's getting ready to like send somebody to go get the.
He's fucking Race Bannon, bro.
Yeah, man.
He's fucking Race Bannon, dude.
It's the
Look
best
at him.
description.
He's fucking Race Bannon. He's ready for it. He's ready to
good.
protect Johnny Quest. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, dude, that guy, if he was the president, the fucking 10th day of fucking Portland, there would have been SEAL Team 6 and fucking 2,000 dead dreadhead white kids.
Right.
They would have all been wearing Bible verses on their fucking flack.
And it's not like I'm a fucking Pence fan, but I'm just saying, like, that dude is probably like, Trump's playing chess. We just kill him. We just kill them all. Let me get Mattis. Let's call Mattis back. You know what I mean, dude? Like, like those. That's the old guard. And honestly,
what's your take on Mattis saying that Trump was bad for the Constitution?
Because he wasn't doing what he just said. Pence, like I feel like Pence and Mattis were probably telling Trump, it's like, why are you doing this? We got to fucking go kill him. And Trump's like, I've got a plan. You guys don't know. It's okay. I'm doing my thing. And and Mad Dogs doesn't like, he's not subtle. He doesn't.
No.
He doesn't have tact. He's like, these people are bad. We kill them. They don't like America. We kill them.
One of his most famous quotes is, have a plan for killing everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Well, Trump knows that.
That's it.
Trump knows if he retaliates, then it's Hitler and the Gestapo, right?
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
Pence and Mattis don't care about that. They're like, fine, think of us as the Gestapo. You're dead anyhow. And if anyone else were like, the thing is this, man. Like, I remember like fucking, you know, like the 99% protests and shit. And I was in a punk band at the time, so everyone assumed I was liberal, and they kept inviting us to play. And I said I don't agree with what you're doing, and they get real pissed. You know, but like, that was a protest. They sat there with their tents and they fucking said they were upset, and they, you know, and they can get involved in their local government and try to affect change in some way. And look, man, we need police reform. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent on everything. I take every fucking situation as it comes. And I'm also fucking intelligent, I think, enough to know that, like, your point of view changes as new information comes your way, like, and that's healthy. So for people that are like, I'm a lifelong this or lifelong that, it's like, you should really reflect on that. You know, like, to me, like, instead of taking a side, like, again, like, it goes back to that, the truth, bro. Like, if you're on the side of the truth, then we could all be united. Yeah. And that, to me, like, the most beautiful thought is, like, if we get over fucking red, white, blue, you know, all the black, white, you know, when we get back to, like, what is true, and not what fits my story of what should be true, but just what is true, what was really said, what was really done,
what really happened,
you know, and then people throw this shit out the window too, like, and you know, it's old fucking, you know, but like, you know, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. Like, you know, a lot of times too, like, people get it from one source. Like, when I'm talking to you guys about this stuff, I've dug into about, you know, at least fucking 20 sources to corroborate what I'm looking at, and I can give you guys, you know, the websites where I pulled this from, and then you can make your own decision. And that's why
what I know about you. For as long as I've known you, you don't just go down the rabbit hole. You get to the honeycomb.
Yeah.
Like I've come to your apartment and been like, hey, what's up? Let's chill. And you're like in hour 7 of a long dive, and like, yo, there's some shit. And I'm like, oh, do tell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
well,
You know what I mean?
when you say these things, Joey, and like the way you started the podcast was like you don't care. Like if you find out shit on Donald Trump, yeah, fuck that guy too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that took me back to like some point when Epstein first was arrested, and
Coming
people
out.
were like, "Oh, it's actually Trump just trying to cover his own ass." Like at this party I was at, and I was like, I don't care if like his files come out and it says it was Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and fucking Jesus fucking a kid on a plane. We find him and kill them all, you know? Like, and
Yeah.
they were like, well, it definitely wasn't the Clintons or whatever. And if you think that, like, they started crying and left. And, like, my buddy was like, but everybody thinks you're, like, a super Trump supporter. And you said if it's got Donald Trump in there, like, we should kill him too. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, that's what happens when, like, you're committed to a side, you know? And he was like, that's really, I feel like that was the moment, like, he started kind of, like, waking up to, like, oh, there's, like,
mm,
you've got a side. Because I always say, like, show me the evidence, right? And then people just tell me, well, it's right there. I'm like, no, I've got this piece of paper that you say your evidence is on, and it doesn't say anything to what you say. And they're like, well, that's just because you like to suck Trump's dick. I'm like, I'm not talking about that, but, and once again, that whole cycle of that thing, I'm
Well, the
always
more I
like,
learn too, I feel like
tell
liberal
me, and I
yeah.
will look at it, and if I see what you see, yeah, like that's cool. If I have to dig, I'll dig deeper. Like I go on deep dives too, and and I don't find anything. Like and when I go on deep dives looking for what the loudest side right now, which unfortunately is the fringe left, right? I go on deep dives trying to corroborate their conspiracy theories, right? And I can't. It doesn't. Nothing. None of what they're saying has legs. There's nothing deeper than. Here's the thing that really upsets me. You can, like Joey will have something that he posts that he can give 10 legitimate sources to,
And
and
you know what bothers me? I noticed that in the fact checks, you mentioned this, Mike, recently about how it like
yeah,
breaks down. On Joe's posts, they do that, and the first time that I check it and look at their little fact check, it's one thing and then three, but each thing doesn't say that how it's not a fact. It
it's
was
the fact
specifically on the
checker's
Kamala
opinion.
Harris one,
Yeah, it's the
right?
fact checker's opinion, and they're not an
I looked
American.
up the quote by Kamala Harris, and it's everywhere.
Yeah, man.
Like it's
See,
documented everywhere, like in the minutes of
mm-hmm,
the meetings and all this
mm-hmm.
shit. Like what?
And people try to use those fact checking sites like so they don't have to do the work.
Like their gospel.
It's promoting the laziness of actually
That's
doing
the epidemic,
your
intellectual
yeah.
laziness.
And the thing is too, like they're not even when they do have a source, it's I don't know, and the fringe right was more guilty of this during Obama, but now, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, it's the fringe left. But it's not even the fringe left anymore, just because the brainwash, the more brainwashed side of the left is the mass of the left that just thinks anything that is not a Republican site just is automatically true, right? Which
Right.
I've noticed, that's how the right used to be 100%. So, um,
Back
but
when it was like the religious right all
yeah,
the time.
exactly. So the sources from the left are like there's a news story, right? And then it sources, right, another news story as its source. And the text is literally copied and pasted, but the ads are different because the pages reach different people. And then it sources another news source. And sometimes if you keep following the news source, the original source is the original article. And it's all
Right.
copied and pasted. It's one circle. There's no
yep,
actual original source where they're getting their facts from. And
Yeah, that's exactly what
right.
I was trying to explain.
it's
Yes,
just
yes.
I
Well, that's
fucking
why
Because
hate
there
that
was
Trump.
no
shit.
That's why Trump
actual
goes off on
explanation.
fake news.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about when he says fake news. And people are like, no, no, it's just rhetoric and shit. And that's another
Everything's
thing that upsets
editorialized
me,
now.
man. Like, I know I've done a lot of research on like Nazi Germany and the specific party and how they came to power and how they used Hitler to come to power and
Uh-huh.
and then like he went like he did what their he ended up doing exactly what they wanted him to do, right? Um, and the way people try to describe like Trump rhetoric and comparing it to Nazi Germany, I'm like, you're only saying this because that article that you read told you it was. the source of a source of a source of a source of itself, right? Because none of like the closest thing to a Nazi political system, like the way they tried to come to power and then failed, is like the Bernie Bros. But like they're not genocidal maniacs. Is the difference.
Right.
Well, there's not this baby shit. There was a different
Exactly,
type
yeah.
of human being. That's the one
Yeah.
thing the left didn't think about was their army is a bunch of kids that fucking like don't even know how to fucking load or hold a gun.
Yeah,
It's like that's great that you've amassed this mass of people, but
that
like
Black
if push comes to
Israelites
shove,
video
you're not
that
a
I
bunch of,
shared.
like you'll have 100 people be able to take on 5,000 easily,
Yeah.
because of just like the different
That
lifestyle.
was what I was
Um,
talking about yesterday when I was like swinging my dick all big at that Magic convention, and
Yeah.
like nobody escorted me out, and you were
Well,
like,
like-
why do you think that? I'm like, there were 5,000 people there. I'm sure I could one hit start taking everybody down.
Well,
and
that's
I'm
what
not
I'm
a
saying,
big
like-
dude, and I would get tired at 4,900. Like that would be it. Like
Well,
that
Joe, like
would
you've
be
told
it.
me, Joe, you've heard me talk about this kind of thing before. I know, and Mike, you have. I'm sure. Like, there's times when you go in a place and you're just like, oh, I can clean the room.
Yeah.
I'll clean the whole fucking room, and like, I'll be a nightmare. Like, I would be a nightmare. For this.
Yes.
Like, you get 3 dudes who work on a roof,
Mm-hmm.
just normal dudes who are roofers, and you get 14 Antifa.
That's no.
Those
one,
roofers are gonna just eat
one-
their assholes, bro.
Your numbers are skewed. It's like one dude that works on a roof. And
Nah,
like
it-
30 Antifa.
one person. It's difficult because a lot of bodies on top of you and all that. But 3 dudes, it
Okay,
creates a whole
2.
different dynamic.
I'll go 2 when they're back to back.
I'll go three of them to 16 or 18 might
It's
even.
got to
have
be
a
more
better
than
chance.
that. Just because
Well,
now they're
You're talking about a lot of bodies, man.
but
but
they're
anyway,
but they're
The
not
semantics of the
they're
number
made out of
aside,
paper.
Well, that's what I mean. The semantics of the number aside, some of these papers still swing a bike lock at you, and it doesn't. As a mortal, like you got to worry about that kind of shit when you're
Yeah.
engaging someone else. That's the issue.
I
One of
don't
my favorite
know if you
videos, though,
they
is the
only
one
hit-
video where the guy goes to punch a guy who's not
just-
paying attention, and the guy just blocks it and goes like,
The other guy.
"Yeah."
That's but no, that's what I'm talking about. Like I don't know if you noticed the people that they like roundhouse kick or hit with a bike lock are like old women or old people
Or
or
people that aren't paying attention.
yeah, people that aren't paying attention. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why the number on the Antifa side has
There's
got to
this
go
videos
up
out there
because
that I seen with this big Hawaiian kid just cleaning house.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they're all piling on him, and he's still like
Yeah, no, it's like he's like literally holding the line. He's like just mopping, just
Yeah,
mopping.
throwing them over his shoulder like they're
But that's
bales
the other
of hay.
thing too, right, man?
But
Like,
bales of hay are more dangerous than these guys.
we've talked about this a lot. Like, you got a lot of people who are living in theory out there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That are playing this game, and it's like,
It's LARPing, as my buddy
listen,
says.
if you have even a minimal understanding of like violence, you're
not wanting to go there.
yeah, like you understand that it's like, yeah, it's not a game. And a lot of these kids I see out there, the way they're talking, the way they're acting, like they don't know what they're learning now. In a lot of
Listen,
these cases,
Andy,
that's where all this
no.
shock and outrage, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, these police, they were so aggressive. And it's like,
Andy,
what the
no.
fuck?
Andy,
You've
no.
never been searched by a Broward County sheriff, huh?
Yeah,
like,
man.
I've had a finger in my
Andy.
ass. What's up? Like,
Andy, no. Registered Democrat.
yeah, a little Asian gay
Photojournalist.
dude, right?
Asian
Yeah.
gay guy. Goes to Antifa to expose the
They
violence.
beat his ass.
They still do. Like, he hasn't stopped. That's the other thing. Like, they
Well, that's
sent
that
him to the...
That's that Asian go get it.
Yeah,
He's
they
not
sent
gonna
him
stop.
to the hospital with chemical burns, with
Yeah, with that
concrete
right?
milkshakes.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man.
Yeah, and people were defending that shit. Like, oh, that's what he gets.
I don't get that.
Like-
I don't get that.
Well, that's why, like, I always feel torn with this because I almost feel like the right thing to do is to just let the cops open fire with real weapons and make it real, just for a day.
yeah,
one
And
time.
then after about 1,000 casualties, be like, we did not want to do this, but after 60 days, 200 plus officers fucking injured,
Well,
fucking black businesses, white businesses, Asian businesses, Hispanic businesses, all fucking destroyed in the name of what? What did you accomplish? What are you accomplishing? You want police reform? This is not the way to do it. If you want to end up fucking dead in the street and on the fucking news, this is what you do. This is not what was protected in the fucking Constitution.
Yeah.
What you're doing is fucking you're acting in treason. It's domestic terrorism.
That's
And
shit.
until
Said that
until
shit.
we until we fucking treat it as such, and until and like, look, Trump's not doing it because of the election. If Trump is involved in that, the election is gone. Because again, we've built a culture of people that watch Glee and all these fucking shows that make them weak mentally, where they can't, like, dude, like, fucking, if it's like the same people who fucking will put down a dog for biting someone can't do the same for a human. It's so fucking crazy. If you'll put down a dog fucking doesn't have the same, concept of right and wrong. A dog's acting off of instinct most of the time.
Right.
So when a dog bites somebody, it's not always because the dog's a vicious, mean dog. It's circumstance, and it's a different animal. But when you're the same animal as me, right? Biologically, we are people, and your brain is fucked to that degree, then, like, fucking that's you should be put down. Like, fucking, like, I don't get it.
Let me read to you a Twitter chain from a well-known, like, boots on the ground, like, Antifa reporter, right? So this is what they're trying to do to get people to think that they're justified in what they're doing. It's, did you hear what happened in Boston? In Boston, during a verbal dispute, an unarmed teenage boy was forcefully hit in the head with the butt of a weapon by local law enforcement. And then it's this chain where they go, word of the incident spread quickly, and a large number of locals gathered in the street where the incident had happened to protest almost immediately. As the crowd grew, angry protesters shouted slogans. Some business owners, fearing property damage, shut their doors. The local authorities called for uniformed backup. Backup came well armed. The assembly was deemed unlawful, and the crowd was ordered to disperse. The protesters began to throw dirt in response. In response, multiple uniformed law enforcers fired on the crowd. The first protester to die was a black man, and the authorities justified the shooting, claiming that they feared for their lives. The year was 1770. The authorities were the British soldiers. The protest would later be called the Boston Massacre, and it was the first precursor, or the first protester killed in the conflict was Crispus Attucks, a black man, a heroic American patriot, and the first casualty of the American Revolution. If while reading this story you found yourself siding with the authorities and thinking that protesters should have dispersed when ordered, and or the protesters armed with dirt and sticks deserve to be met with deadly force by armed law enforcement, be aware that you've chosen the side of the tyrant King George III, not the American patriots. Ugh.
Well, the mental gymnastics that you have to engage in.
Yeah, it's verbal judo.
This is a good friend of mine that posted that. A good friend of mine posted that.
Well, your good friend needs to get some perspective, because those business owners didn't deserve that. Those are innocent people.
Oranges.
And honestly, like, fucking, if you just look at 9 black people shot by cops, 19 white people shot by cops. Cops shoot people. Cops shoot people, right?
Police reform.
It happens.
That's the biggest problem with all the racial shit is that it's overshadowing that we need police reform badly.
Yeah.
It's crippling the possibility of getting that pushed through with all this outcry. And people want to talk about the numbers, this group, that group. Like Joe just said, cops kill people, man. Cops shoot people, and cops are under fucking trained.
I'm gonna pee my pants. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. This is our first pee break ever on the podcast, episode 16. All right.
I have a message for the audience,
Please.
Especially if you're into Antifa, if you're a protester, if you're helping. That's my favorite fucking phrase is I'm helping. That's how I feel like all these people are. I'm helping.
What's that, Ralph? Is that Ralph Wiggum? Fucking from The Simpsons? Fucking
no,
I'm helping.
It definitely is where their brains are at as far as like where they're at. But here's a challenge for you guys. Instead of rioting or protesting, peaceful protesting at courthouses and stuff like that, which is fine, like fucking. Here's my challenge to you. Disney owns 1/5 of every TV channel on TV. The other 4/5 of the TV channels and outlets of radio and all that are owned by the parent company, Time Warner, and its subsidiaries. So all of your news, and Disney bought Fox. So if you notice on Fox, a lot of the anchors are starting to turn on the Republican guests and stuff. Here's my challenge. Boycott media. Boycott any mainstream. Look, you could look up all the arms of Disney and Time Warner.
Mhm.
You could look up who owns what, and boycott that. And
I will say this.
get your news from anywhere else. Go protest at CNN. Go protest at Fox.
Yeah.
Break their doors down. Protest Hollywood. Go outside of fucking the
What
Chinese
you
theater.
just said leads me to what I was going to say. The one thing that I took away when we had riots here in Atlanta, protests and riots. We had like what was happening all over the country, and they fucking wrecked house at CNN, and that shit made me feel so happy. It felt so righteous when you're watching these fucking people who shill fear huddled in the landing of their building with the riot cops in front of them and just angry masses bringing back to them what they've sown into society for years now. That was
It's karma.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed the shit.
I want to implore everybody that's listening, and whether you're on the right, the left, if you're an independent like me, if you're a libertarian, Green Party, whatever fucking team you pick, and I encourage you all, stop with teams, stop with sides, always be on the side of the truth, and fucking always go towards the truth. The fucking that will never leave you wrong. Picking sides will fuck you up. But protest fucking Hollywood, protest fucking TV, protest all of those things. Go to the Fox lot and fucking go throw some actors into a fucking well.
Yeah.
Like go
Burn
protest
the Hollywood side
pedophilia.
down.
Protest all the churches that pretend to care about the kids and the synagogues and the fucking temples and
Stop
the
fucking up mom and pop businesses.
fucking go fuck up the people that actually are damaging society.
What did I
Fuck,
say?
that
I talked about that the last time you were on. Like that's how I knew like the protests are pretty much rigged, because in West Palm Beach, they had the choice of marching towards 95 or marching across the bridge onto the island, where literally the richest people in the world that control all the pedophile shit, right? And they were just funneled onto 95, where like a truck could have hit all of them, you know, instead of going on to Palm Beach Island with thousands of people and like burning those fucking houses to the ground with all the pedophiles in them, you know.
I'd be worried about sharpshooters. I
Well,
knew if I
that
had
was the
cookie
other
money
thing.
like that, I would call up Greg at Gator Guns and be like, Greg,
No,
you
no,
know,
they don't need
Whoa,
that.
shooters?
Oh, Greg!
Well,
you want some home defense homies?
Well, no,
Dude,
no,
that's
they don't need
that's
that.
a company that we could set up. You want to talk about a well-regulated militia?
I already
Home
know
defense
them.
homies.
That's-
Are you afraid?
I already know them.
Are they a real thing?
I already know them on the Palm Beach Island. They're actually really nice guys.
They have their own police force.
They're ex.
It's the same in Alabama.
No, it's not at their own. The police
No,
force.
it's a security
Yeah,
force.
it's a
But
security detail.
they operate in
They're
the same
ex-
fashion
they're
that a police
ex-
force would.
Patriot military from Australia, and they're super pleasant dudes. But you get that feeling like you're in danger at all times around them. Like when I would go to my one friend's house, and like
The
he
more
wouldn't be
pleasant
there.
they are, the more well trained usually.
Exactly, yeah. Like I would go to my friend's house who lives like at the end of the island on the north side, like near the pump station or whatever. And he wouldn't be there, and I would like be like waiting outside the gate, and then all of a sudden like the little cart comes up with like 5 dudes uncomfortably sitting on it, and the one guy's like, "What's up, mate? How you doing?" Like and his like very thick British accent, all chipper, and the way he puts his arm on me, it's like the way. Like he's got me, you know, like there's nothing I can do. And he's like, "I don't think you're supposed to be here." And I'm like, "This is my friend's house." Like, and I'm bigger than him, but he's just, the way he's got me, it's like I know I'm in danger. And he's like, "We'll sort it out. It'll be fine. I just gotta call him." And he calls him, the gate opens, he's like, "Oh, you're good to go. All right, man. Let's go. Have a good day." But I was just like, I mean, if I wasn't supposed to be there, like, because I was like in a
You might
deep
have
part of the
trouble.
island. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I would have just been like, "Hey, I'm sorry," and they're like, "No, there's no sorry, man. You're just getting fucking thrown in the water. Like, this isn't your car anymore. Like something. Like those guys live there. Like I said, they're real nice. And the whole thing is, you know, they could have. It's like 300 versus several thousand. And I don't know, maybe they probably would have been able to take out all those several thousand. But here's the thing, that would have been something that the news couldn't, like, shut down, because there would be people live streaming, like, there's a small army on this island, and they're killing all of us. You know, you can't suppress like all of the stream, like the live streams that people were doing from the protest. You know?
They'll
Mhm.
fact check you. They'll be like, "This is a scene from Independence Day or some
Yeah,
shit."
yeah, man. Like
Some
it's
Arab guy named David.
yeah, yeah.
Look,
They would try that shit, but like I mean, there would be people that would make it out. That were like, "I'm there. I got the video." You know, some
I
people would
guess.
make
I mean,
it out.
at the end of the day, nobody wants a hard time, including the protesters in many cases. It's just like when cops raid like a local pot dealer instead of like a fucking meth lab. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're going for soft targets, and it's the same shit. They're at the highway. Why are you at the highway?
Yeah.
Because you want to fuck with moms that are coming home from work, picking up their
Mhm.
kids tired. Like it's misplaced energy. You know what I'm saying? Like JoJo said, like you want to protest. Like there's a lot of other places that have a lot of more.
They could have
wielding
gone to
power.
Palm Beach Island. That's where the fucking
Yeah.
like the local head of the snake is for like America.
Yeah, but why does
You know?
everybody go to the governor's house? That's like a place. Like why?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? What you're gonna burn fucking your street, like your local main street, like doesn't
'Cause they're
make fucking
dumb,
sense
dude.
to me. Yeah,
They're dumb, and
They got
Like,
led,
look,
like I
like,
said. They got
when-
funneled towards
when
9/11.
when you ask them questions, like I have people, I work in the cannabis industry, so you can imagine the fucking people I talk to, like fucking I mean like, you know,
Yeah.
C-level executives that like have CNN on,
Mhm.
and like they'll be like, fucking Trump's a piece of shit, and I'm like, well, Biden's a great guy, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Really?
I'm fucking, you know.
All right, Pito.
So you know what I mean, like
you gonna let
fucking.
him babysit your kid there? You gonna let old Uncle Joe babysit for you?
So
Oh, I'd never
they
do
probably
that.
love
Well,
it. They probably, like, again, sociopaths in business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's just a type of person where power, money, and status means more to them than anything, and they'll believe in a
Give 'em
false
anything
religion.
for it. Yeah.
They'll do whatever it takes. They'll join any group. They'll do any fucking thing as long as they get the power, the money, and the status.
Ew.
And you know, they talk about it like selling your soul to the devil. Like fucking, I know all these things are trite and cliche, but like they're real. Like, dude, like fucking, I saw it in the music industry.
Yeah.
There's like a level that you get to where it gets real creepy, and you don't want to like for me, I didn't want to pursue that path. And you know, one of the things that I regret is, you know, aiding and abetting, you know, good times for shitty people when
Yeah.
I could have been maybe doing other things that were more constructive. Because like, yeah, it's good to like cut loose and make music and like and all that stuff, but at the same time, like, you know, a lot of times, you know, it's the background music to people making horrible decisions. Like, I know that my band played for a lot of abortions, fucking a lot of rapes. I know a lot of rapes probably happen after our shows, especially with me tearing off my clothes on stage. Like, there's only so much someone could take. I mean, look at my body. I've transformed into this little tiny fucking squirt with a little tiny head. You know, so I mean, that's how it fucking works. But yeah, I think one thing that we do have to acknowledge at 9:48 Eastern Time, you know, today on Monday, August 3rd, is that fucking hash rosin is fucking awesome. And if you are pursuing the truth, get some hash rosin, and it will fuel your obsessive desire to know more.
It'll
Yeah,
ignite the fires.
this is the worst part, right? Is the more that you learn, the more isolated you get. And it's like, you know, like something I do want to plug on here. I don't know if you guys have heard of Unwoke HR.
I have heard of that.
All right,
Yes.
Unwoke HR is a monster.com, Indeed, Glassdoor
Yeah.
for
it's-
unwoke companies that don't
want to deal with all that bullshit. Yes, I don't want to hire people who are going to
okay.
be complaining
Good.
about
So-
all kind of shit, need 14 bathrooms or whatever the fuck.
If you want to
Yeah.
work for an old Baptist black guy named Teddy who just wants you to fucking run
To
the
work
books of his
hard?
company
Yeah,
and work hard and earn your keep and move
Oh.
up the
yeah.
then fucking he'll hire you.
I'm
So-
creating a resume on the website right now.
I'm doing it tonight too. I wanted to say like fucking, you know, like the Q community. Like I created Perfect Tommy just so I can continue to be in touch with you guys and do the show and
Right on.
you know, see what else we could spin this into. I'm actually working on some hip hop that's based in this vein that Andrew you could get on anytime that you could add vocals to.
Fuck yeah.
Mike, I know that we'll fucking end up jamming one of these days and making some music. Fucking like maybe we'll make
Yeah.
something called the Predophile.
Okay.
And we'll mix
Yo,
we'll mix a Predator.
Elliot, right? He's the bass player in the band that I'm in right now. He wanted to make a band with Mike Morrison
Mhm.
and him and myself and another person called TDS. We could just do that with you.
Yeah, dude, I was supposed to come jam with you guys last Friday, but he never texted me back. He's bad at fucking staying in touch.
Oh, I died. Well, he
Um,
also dies during the week when he comes home because he works in the sun for like 10 hours and then comes home.
oh, he has a different job. I thought it like well, not something to talk about here, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean?
No,
But,
he's
oh,
he works for like the people that tell you where your like the electrical lines are in the ground.
oh shit, yeah, yeah. I used
Yeah.
to do that for AT&T.
Yeah.
Um, are you guys playing this Friday?
No. I don't know. I was supposed to jam with them Friday too, and I fell asleep real early. Cuz we
Well, let me know.
Dad
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
I just fucking got a new guitar, so I'm fucking itching to play.
Is
Well, I'm
one
gonna
of
be
them
in
on
town,
the screen right
boys,
now?
in August, so we're gonna have
Yeah,
to. We're gonna have
it's
to put some things together.
it's an ESP Deluxe.
That
It's
arch
an
top?
M1001. Yeah, it's an arch top, super
Mhm.
strat style with Seymour Duncan's coil tap.
I saw the Seymour Duncans. I was like, those are definitely Seymour Duncans on that arch top.
For sure, yeah. I'm a
Yeah.
Strat guy. I have a 72 Tele Thin Line. I have a Fender Deluxe Strat
Nice.
with humbucker double singles, but the LTD I just picked up, and
I
it plays some angry music.
What
yeah.
was it that you smashed on the stage in Propaganda when we played for like 9 people that one
Oh,
night?
that was like a $450
Yeah.
Ibanez like Koa top acoustic.
Yeah.
I gave you a half ounce of pop because I felt so bad that I hurt your foot.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was definitely a surprise. All of a sudden, like a guitar body hit me. Fucking, but now the funniest part was the band going on after us was like, well, we really want to go on now. Like, fucking, that was crazy. Like, and then like, you gave it to them. You were like, here you go. Like, you can fix it. And, like, and they were like, thanks, man. Fucking, it was a funny, weird night as always.
That was such a great night, and like that's one like I've had a lot of event like we could do episodes just like going through years of my life and weird things that I've either been a part of or
Just
observed.
our adventures were all pretty fun
Yeah.
and ridiculous.
Fucking one of the things that I always like felt really humbled by was when I played with like the Toilets, especially. Whenever we would fucking play before last on a bill, people would be like, "We don't want to play after you guys," and like I always thought that was like the best
Yeah,
compliment
it
to
is
get
the
from
best
another
compliment.
band. And like like I would like pump them up and be like, "Dude, get the fuck out of here," you know what I mean? Like talk them up
Yeah.
and stuff. But like
Sure.
it was always really fucking special. Like I
Yeah.
miss local music, and I think that's such a great thing, and I think that should be supported. I even think getting to the national, like 311 is some band that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion, as far as they have
Great
their own
live
record
show.
label. It's
Great
all
live
self-funded. They have their own studio, their own producer. It's all self-funded. They do their
Yeah.
own tours, and there's no music execs. There's no pedo. Like there's no weird fucking. It's just
Mhm.
them and their
Just them,
families.
Yeah.
It's just grassroots. It's them, and then they
And
have
some of the
like their
guys from
3-day
Bloodhound
tests with
Gang.
their. Exactly. So like they have this fucking. I'm like I'm not a huge fan of their music. There's some
Me
songs that I
either,
think
yeah.
are great, but like
I wanted to talk
but
about
otherwise,
that.
like, I'd say like five songs at the most that I could find tolerable by them, and like
Exact-
one that I really
tolerable.
truly like.
Yeah. I'm not
So-
a fan of them musically. I'm a fan of them personally. Like
Yeah,
their work ethic, their personalities. They're good people. They contribute to things like stopping child sex trafficking and stuff like that. They try to create awareness to things that they're passionate about, which are things that are good people are passionate about.
Mhm.
But I make the joke every 311 every year when everybody's like, it's 311 day. I'm like, what's the only thing worse than 311? 9/11, or the only thing worse than 9/11? It's 311. 'Cause- and people fucking hate me. They're like, they're a great band. I'm like, they're a band.
It's all right. I hate Tool, and so
Dude,
like when I
You have like,
no
idea
so
how much
fuck
I
other
hate this
people.
tattoo that I've got
Oh
on me.
no,
I have
dude, fucking.
I like the
swear to God.
concepts of Tool, but as soon as
Like-
I met them, and then I listened to ISIS, I was like, Tool is terrible.
Yeah, ISIS was the reason why I hated Tool. I heard ISIS first because
Oh,
I had a brother
shit.
that was 10 years older than me that listened to weird music. So I heard and then I'm like, dude, these guys play the same fucking scale on every song, and it's
Mhm.
like all. I'm like, dude, listen to ISIS. It's like a wall of sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like fucking, you can get lost in
Songs
just
are
the mix.
different. The
Yeah,
songs
they
are different.
definitely- See, Andrew, you knew. You knew. Andrew called this. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah?
if I get you two talking, it's over, fucking.
Yeah.
Dude.
No, I knew you guys would love
And
each other.
what I love,
Definitely.
what I love about that is like that's how you can kind of tell if a Tool fan is willing to listen to good music. If you show them ISIS and they're like, "Whoa!" And here's the crazy ISIS is my favorite band of all time. So like I've done the whole like
Nice.
super research on them. Like when how they got big, it's because of Tool. It's like Tool saw them playing in Boston when they were a local band, and they're like, "When are you guys moving to LA to become big?" And they're like, "Never. Nobody likes our music." And they invited them to live at their houses, and that's when
Wow.
they recorded "In the Absence of Truth," like their first Tool sounding album. And then the drummers, like the drummer was still living in like Danny Carey's spare bedroom still, right? And when they recorded the next album and he was sick, and Danny would be like, "Hey buddy, you gonna go record drums today?" And he's like, "I'm terrible. Can you go?" And Danny's like, "Well, yeah, I can go, but..." And then the drummer from ISIS is like, "Wait, don't make them too hard to play." And he's like, "I got you, buddy. I got you." So like some of the tracks are yeah, some of the tracks on their second album, I think it's Oceanic, right? No, it's Oceanic first, but then there's
Oh,
the first one, and then In the Absence
great
of Truth.
song.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the drum tracks are Danny Carey like filling in, like playing down to Aaron Harris's level. It's just hilarious. Like,
That's tremendous.
yeah, he's like, just wait, don't make them too hard to play.
It,
It's just,
it goes to show you that the importance of songwriting versus
yeah.
virtuosity. Like
Mhm.
one of the things that I always like, like I'm a good guitar player, I think, and I'm a good bass player. I'm an okay drummer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a good vocalist, but like I'm all about writing the song.
Yes.
Like fucking like the writers of the Waste music that Andrew and I were doing is not terribly complex.
It's fun
They were
though.
just like
Yeah.
good, fun songs that like had melody and they had dynamics and like to me that's always the best. Like ISIS, like maybe doesn't
Yeah.
have like the raw material that Tool does as far as like the talent department. Like
Mhm.
like Dream Theater is another band where it's like you have
It's too much.
virtuoso players, but it's like the songs are like for
It's
the
the
most
same
part.
song every time. Yeah.
Then you have like Rhapsody of Fire, where fucking like Luca Turley could barely play the fucking same song like the right way,
Yeah.
but still like and then they're
Mhm.
simple. Like fucking, I can
Yeah.
play fucking any of their albums like the first time hearing it, but like
Mhm.
it's fucking amazing what just good songwriting does.
Yeah.
Ooh, the plum,
I
the
think that's
plum appearance.
I think the
went
talent
from
is
14
in the songwriting though. I consider that more talented than Look What I Can Do. Like I learned Look What I Can Do when I was younger, and I feel like that's who it appeals to. The kids that think like they're good because they can play the hardest stuff, you know? Like that's who Nile panders
Yes,
to. Like that's literally the best drummer in the world as far as speed goes,
George Colias, yeah,
George
man.
Colias is like he's the top of the hill, you know?
I'd argue that Marco Minima might be
There's
like,
one guy that's way better than both of them.
and maybe
speed-wise,
Richard
actually.
Christie.
Not
Richard
even.
Christie when he played with Death was my
There's-
fucking favorite.
Well, favorite, yeah, like favorite people, like he's my friend too. Well, not my friend. He's
What?
an acquaintance, not Colias.
Richard Christie?
No, he played in Nile before Colias.
Oh,
I'm forgetting. He's from Hollywood. He
Gus
was-
Rios?
No, he was in all of the names are escaping me right now. He tried out for Dream Theater. That Dream Theater thing where they were like auditioning drummers.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I remember that.
The guy. He looks like metal as fuck, but when he talks like this, like, hey there, y'all. I'm fuck, I forgot his name. Anyway, that guy's really good. But there's one guy that can play techno music at like 600 beats per minute. It's Jojo Mayer. I don't know if you've heard of him or seen him. Jojo Mayer
I
can
believe-
play techno music at near like 800 beats per minute with like one
That's
hand.
insane.
Like it's dumb. Like his little band Nerve, he does like the techno break beats with his drum kit, and you're like, he's like breaking your. If you know anything about drums, like he's breaking your brain watching it because you're like, I thought I knew, like the best guys were metal guys, but I guess it's this guy because he's a fucking robot. Like,
Yeah, for
it's-
sure.
it's-
Well, drum and bass drummers are fucking ridiculous to begin with. So
yeah,
sounds like you're talking about like the next level
he is.
Russian Asian fucking hybrid, fucking
He's-
made in a laboratory underneath the
Yeah.
alkali flat.
He's German or Swedish. I forgot. Well, he's Swedish and they speak German there. Yeah. It's. Yeah, I mean, he grew up with the death metal guys too, and he's like, I do not like this. I like jazz.
Well,
What-
that says a lot about jazz drumming, dude. Like
Uh,
straight ahead jazz is fucking chaotic sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that real straight fucking like the fat like the aggressive shit, like the
Yes.
gangster rap of its time. It's
Yes.
like this song's about kicking a
Coltrane.
cop in the balls
Yeah, man. Yeah.
and fucking a white woman in the asshole.
Have you seen the meme? I think I posted it a couple times. It's like the evolution of African American music, and it's like John Coltrane, and it's like the most complex saxophone solo like ever written, and it's dumb. And then it's like Lil Wayne, like I fuck that bitch, I fuck that bitch, and it's just like dot 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 dot. It's like slow triplets, and then John Coltrane shit's like like all over the place. Evolution
I had
of
a theory-
African American music.
I had a theory that if we got auto-tune and a dope fucking trap beat, like a fucking just ridiculously fucking like Miami's on fire fucking type trap beat.
Yeah.
You know, like the Miami Heat just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Like they fucking got on the fucking football field and like fucked up the Patriots and shit and like fucking
Yeah.
like so that type fucking oh fuck man, that rosin.
No, I was just thinking we gotta make a clip of while you guys are talking about guitars and music, and I'm eating that plum the whole time.
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
a clip right there.
That could be the whole thing. And I just zoom in on you.
Yeah.
Watch it end up in
Yeah.
the tabloids.
Oh.
It's like, is there secret symbology here? There is a double-headed bear creature on a flag behind him that looks like a double-headed Moloch. That's Moloch squared, and the plum is symbolic of
Yeah.
Aphrodite's thigh meat.
Yo, speaking of like tabloids, I'm gonna get back to the New World Order type stuff. Do you remember the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer?
Oh yeah, great.
Do
movie.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, he's not big
Mike-
anymore.
Mhm.
No, he avoids Hollywood.
He was
I think
difficult.
once he went from Canada to New York, and New York was probably like, okay, these New Yorkers are pretty weird.
Yeah.
And then he went to California, and then he's like, I'll go back to Canada.
Yeah. Like, but do you remember that movie So I Married an Axe Murderer, where he
Yeah.
plays his dad,
Mhm.
right? And his
Yeah.
buddy comes over.
That was like the precursor of the fat bastard character.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the best scene from that movie is where he's describing Bohemian Groves. And he's like, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that the 7 most powerful families in the world all meet at a place in Colorado called The Meadows. Like, like he's like, you know, not saying outright exactly it, but then like he describes the people that go there. It's a hilarious bit, but then like, if you know more, he's like, I'm getting it out there. Like, it's a thing.
Right.
It's real. Somebody know what I'm talking about. You know?
The
But
last
the
thing that I
scene
can
is
remember
hilarious.
Mike Myers for, other than Shrek, was that fucking moment when he was with Kanye after Katrina, where Kanye was like, George Bush does not care about white people. And Mike Myers looked like he found someone else's shit in his pants. Like, he fucking...
That
He looked
poor guy.
completely stymied. That was a great moment in television history.
That
Well, see,
poor guy.
Kanye's a true independent.
Yeah.
Fucking
All the way.
talks a Republican. He
All the way.
he loves a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever fits the prescription, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, I grew up with Democrat parents.
He's
Fucking
in
like,
danger. Kanye is in danger. Like, everybody jokes about the freeing Howie Mandel thing. Like, he's sending secret symbols to show that he's in danger. Kanye is asking
Howie
for
Mandel?
help. Yeah.
Howie Mandel. Whoa.
Oh, you didn't know about
Give me-
this?
Get me with this.
Really?
Give me.
Both of you didn't know? Oh my.
No. All I know about Howie Mandel
Drop-
is that he
drop
kinda
the knowledge,
kept it real.
Mike.
So,
he went corporate
Howie-
and seemed to like still talk shit on talk shows. That's all I know about him.
No, Howie Mandel hasn't been
Awesome.
on whatever show he was on for a while, and has just been like dead to the world, social media, everything. Right?
How long?
Almost a year, I want to say.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, after TikTok got big, he's like, "Oh, I've got TikTok," and he keeps showing people these art projects that he made out of like everyday things, and people are doing the art projects, and everything that he makes is the Wayfair symbol.
Hmm?
And
That's
like,
fucking
yeah,
insane.
like if it, he like cuts things and he's like, look, and now it's a little holder, and people are like, okay, I made it, and then they open up like the holder, and they're like, oh shit, it's the Wayfair symbol, and then like they're like, yeah, this little code of numbers he got, it spells out like help me, like every other TikTok is like help me, and the Wayfair symbol and help me, help, like help is a very common theme, like coded into his TikTok.
They're saying that
videos.
about Britney Spears too. She's fucking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's a whole nother
code
thing.
talking.
She's a whole nother thing where they've been controlling her since she was 8 or whatever on the Mickey Mouse Club. So her parents have. She's never been a free adult. Her parents have always had like power of attorney over her, and can commit her at any moment, even before she started going crazy. So
That's sad.
she's a true prisoner. Like South Park made that episode about her where they like need to kill her kind of thing, but like that's kind of true. Like she wants to die because she doesn't know what freedom is, and she's an American. But Howie Mandel is a prisoner somewhere in the world because people are at his house and it's empty. And
She
he's not
always
at his
looks-
house.
Britney Spears always looks like she's sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she's being
She always
held in a
looks like
cage somewhere.
Like if you touched her, she'd be tacky. Like,
Mhm.
like if you touched her, you wouldn't want to do it again. You'd be like,
Yeah.
like a movie theater floor.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
Like she's, but that's like the situations that she lives in. Unfortunately, like forever. It's kind of bad, man. Like,
And so what? You said people have gone to Howie Mandel's house and he's not there, but he's still making these TikToks every day.
yeah, well, they're like, this was his house. He's not there anymore. He never is outside. He's always like acting like he can't open up the door wherever he is. Like,
Weird.
yeah, man.
Maybe he said he was gonna rap, man.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, like fucking like like the people who they can't get, like that's probably the only other recourse is suicide, quote unquote,
Hmm.
or
Right.
to imprison them and say that they disappeared, they fled the country.
Yeah.
Like, you know, who knows if Hanks is actually even in Greece. There's speculation that the photo of him in Greece was actually older because later that same night, the president of Greece or whatever the fuck they have there and his wife were at this other event. It was like a musical, like traditional Greek opera,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and the hair's different,
Yeah.
the clothing's different, and it was like hours apart. Like, and on a different part of Greece, that would have took them
More
a long
than a
time
couple
to get
hours.
there.
Just to travel there, yeah.
Because Hanks is on a very small island,
Hmm.
and then there's the big island, and then this is on a different island where they went to go see the opera.
Hmm.
So the timeline doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, you know, like again, like, you know, Tom, you know, you're going too crazy with these fucking pictures. Like, enough with this shit. Oh, no one's ever gonna get this shit. It's like, did you see these videos on YouTube? SRC, we know we're
Yeah.
pulling them down, but Tom, you're really fucking up. You know, like that shit. Like, it's not just in movies. Like, that's the shit that people gotta understand, man. And
Yeah.
while we're still free to fucking talk about it and speculate, like, it's shit's gonna come out, and if it doesn't, you know, if COVID continues and it doesn't, you should all be really worried.
Yeah.
Should all be really worried. And honestly, like, you know, I was speaking to my girl, like, you know, a well-regulated militia. We really need to seriously, as communities, start to get with like-minded people who see the forest for the trees, and know who has your back, and have points of contact, and start to plan, like, if shit goes nuts, like, you know, what do we do to fucking
Protect
Try to
ourselves and so on.
preserve
yeah.
the sanctity of our country, and
Mhm.
protect, you know, the people. And, you know, that's something real to start considering, and that's something that, you know, I thought wouldn't be in my lifetime, until Donnie's World in 2016. And, you know, I loved the like, Hillary Clinton's a monster, so I
Mhm.
by default like Trump, just like and like I also love that he triggered this ridiculous response in people. I kind of regret it now, like, because now it's really a derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
I
still
look
funny
at
to
like,
me.
you know, like I don't subscribe to like, you know, he's a savior from God or
Yeah,
any of this
yeah.
shit.
Same.
I think maybe like, you know, like again, like Epstein was gonna out financial shit about him, so he went back and fucking, you know, ratted him out.
Hmm.
So you know, 2015 again, you know, saying, you know, that island is a cesspool. You know, knowing that we know that like the Bidens own an island 8 miles away with the submarine path, and you know that Ghislaine Maxwell is a licensed submarine pilot and a helicopter pilot. She's a Mossad spy, bro.
Hmm.
Like so is
Oh yeah.
It's
Epstein.
crazy.
When people
Fucking
when people were like it was actually something that once people pushed back real like somebody it was Daniil. He was like how how come she can live like just some random white lady can live in New Hampshire for so long without getting got? And I was like, she's not just some random white lady. She's like Israeli, um, like special ops, and her family are all like Israeli special ops. He's like, oh, okay, yep, no, makes sense. She can live wherever she wants and not die. I was like, yeah, man.
yeah,
Like,
her father is the biggest media baron in Israel, and
mm-hmm,
I want to clarify one thing. Like fucking, some people when I talk about Mossad, they automatically go, "You're an anti-Semite." Like fucking, like don't ever get it twisted. Like
If you talk
corrupt,
about that's so stupid because people, if you talk about the CIA, it doesn't mean you're anti-American. You talk
right?
about the
yeah,
FBI being fucked up.
Being realistic about a corrupt deep state
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
is different than like I you know like fucking so when people and again that's people assuming instead of listening and looking for something to be triggered by instead of just like hearing what you're actually saying.
mm-hmm.
You know, comprehension skills are at an all-time low.
Yes,
Like
No.
and if you know look at children's shows like I used to you know take care of two toddlers, two 3-year-olds to when they were 4, and I made them start watching King of the Hill and stuff that had normal adult speech patterns because
yes,
they were talking dopey, and I'm
yeah,
like,
They
I,
infantilize kids a
and
lot with these
and
shows.
I didn't talk dopey when I was a kid. By the time I was 3, I could talk a sentence to an adult with
Yeah.
fucking
you
like
know,
with was and is like, "Mommy, I would like a cup of apple juice," and my mom would be like, "Okay," and like I understood like what she said when she's like, "You need to go clean your room." Okay, mommy, I clean my room. Like fucking,
yeah,
these kids were like, "I like ball, I like a puppy," like.
yeah,
And so I made them, and dude, in like 3 months of not watching Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and fucking
Bullshit.
Paw Patrol and all that
yeah.
shit, and the fucking Squidbillies for kids or whatever it's called, fucking little squid, fucking octopus monsters.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. I know what you're
but
talking
like,
about.
dude, they started fucking
Bubble
talking normal.
guppies.
Yes, the bubble guppies.
I
So
love
like
the
they
bubble
started fucking,
guppies. I'm sorry.
they started talking normal though. They started
Yeah.
actually like. And even at the school, they're like, "Oh, are you reading with them?" I'm like, "No, I've been watching King of the Hill with them. Like, I read them stories and stuff, and like
Yeah.
sit and read." But like, they just been listening to Hank Hill and fucking like all these people talk normal. I'm like, I'd put on The Simpsons, and they love The Simpsons,
Yeah.
and like, and I'm like, dude, like fucking, you know,
I,
are you protecting them or making them stupid?
yeah.
Are you
Well,
like,
part of it too is if that's all you let your kid do, if you let your kid just watch
Yeah.
that shit all day, every day, you're gonna rot their head no matter what it is
Mhm.
they're watching. Like, so like with my kid, we have very specific shows that we let her watch. She has little ones that she likes that we know are kind of like bullshit. That it's like, all right, you can clean your room and earn an episode of Ladybug, fucking superhero Ladybug.
Yeah.
Like, so it's one of those things where like it's out there, but part of it too, man, is people who just let their kids just zombie out in front of the TV, like, especially with this quarantine shit. I don't see that many kids in the street, man. I don't see that many kids in the
Yeah.
street.
See,
Like
my-
they're just like
actually,
on
I
a
was
screen.
I just went through that whole thing of like figuring out that most of like the TV kid shows stuff is like a bunch of shit. And one thing I found out is that like the toddler stuff for kids that's not Middle Eastern propaganda trying to turn your kids into a sleeper cell on YouTube is like they're only it's like an adult that's speaking in the tone of a child but like a human, right? And they're only teaching them stuff. Like my kid now, it's funny because I don't know if you've seen the guy Blippy. He's huge on YouTube.
I've heard of him.
Biggest.
I've
Yeah,
heard of
he's
him.
the biggest. He's a billionaire because how many views he gets every day and how many YouTube ad hours he gets, because it's like he's the largest. Like there's nobody even close to him view wise
Right.
from the demographic of like 2 to 6 years old, and it's just like it's primary colors, and he's teaching them things like when you're hurt, you can say things like "ouch" or "darn it" or sing the ABCs. Now, when my son's mad, he's still 2. He's like A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P. Like, but he shouldn't know the alphabet, but he sings the alphabet song when he's mad. And you can ask him to sing the alphabet. He's like, "Not now. I'm not mad." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, fine." But
Huh.
he's like they're teaching him like good coping. Like he teaches like good coping skills, but he doesn't get any advertisement on TV, and like he doesn't sell products. It's really
Right.
like he just like he makes these videos for like kids in other languages too. Like he wants people to be literate. Like it's really weird, but like I also don't trust like people that make kids content just out of natural
You ever
distrust
see the
of
movie
media.
Death to Smoochie?
Yes, that's the whole thing. Like
Yes.
Death Smoochie and the TV show Happy and the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I literally like have distrust, even though this guy is like he's not doing any of those crazy things that appears.
No, but
you know?
it's out there. In
Yeah,
that
yeah.
world.
And I feel like the reason he doesn't get like you don't know who he is unless you're a parent, you know?
Right, right.
Or
right. I've
like
definitely heard of Blippi. I've never
exactly.
watched.
Like you
My
just heard of
move,
him.
too, really is animal. Like I do a lot of music,
Hmm.
so like
That's
I
his
think my
thing.
kid-
Like everything's a song for him, and he
No, but I
teaches
don't
you through
fuck
music.
with. I don't fuck with
Like-
like kid music shit. I
It's
hate
not.
kid music shit.
It's not kid
I'm not
music.
saying his is. I'm just saying
It's
if
weird.
anything- But
It's
so what
it's
I do
good.
is I'll put on a
Not good,
Russell
you know.
Shoals documentary with my
Yeah.
kid and watch that with her, and she'll be like, "Who's that fat lady?" I'm like, "That's Aretha Franklin, the best
Yeah.
singer of all time." Like whatever. And then I also will watch with her a ton of nature documentaries.
yeah.
That's my number one.
See-
where she's like, "Can we watch something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's find a documentary about an animal you want to learn about, and we'll watch
Yeah.
that." That's it for me. If you're gonna let your kid zombie out on TV,
Mhm.
it's got to be something like that.
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, that's what I throw in front of him when I'm like, here, you're gonna watch this guy, right? You're gonna learn about garbage trucks. And the crazy thing is,
Right.
like, the guy, like, he'll talk about a garbage truck, right? And he like talks about it to like the level that a 2-year-old can understand it, and then he starts talking it to you, like, still like as an adult, right? And then at the level that like a 3-year-old can understand it, 4, 5, 6-year-old, to the point where he's like, this is how we check the oil, and you got to check the oil on large machinery. If you hear this sound, watch out because the truck can't see you. Like all like it's crazy. Like he's giving like kids correct things that our parents would like sit us down and be like, before you go play outside today, just remember like it's garbage day,
Right.
and the garbage truck could hit you because they can't see you because they're big.
Right.
So if you hear this, but that's like he just like he is
They don't teach
instilling that.
kids practical knowledge
Yeah,
anymore.
he's practical knowledge,
Yeah.
and then his songs, like, if you compare Blippi songs to, like, Barney, it's literally like the Green Day versus the Beatles, you know? Like, the
Right.
basic, like, Beatles top of all time, and Green Day's like, yeah, man, we ripped everything off, you know? Like, it's
It is
brain
what it
dead.
is.
It is what it is, exactly. And not to say that Barney music is bad either, or Green Day's music is like
No, I
bad,
know what you're saying.
but like
I
the
know
comparison, it's like of kids'
Use any
music,
bands and
Yeah,
based
like,
on the
but-
perspective.
and
That's
not
cool.
all the songs are the same. Like, you know, they do with a lot of kids' songs. They use the same melody. Like he like sings totally like different melodies. He's paying a lot of money for musicians to like, hey, come up with like a little basic melody,
Sure.
and like I'm sure they have no idea that like they're taking that the guy like he just paid him for the song, and he's like garbage trucks do garbage, you know, like they don't know that he's singing like a garbage truck song about it, or like songs about a backhoe and shit, or like just like that's just the route that he went down on too. Is like my son apparently likes like big trucks and stuff, but
He's a little boy, yeah.
yeah,
of course.
and then like the other thing you were talking about, like when I ask him like when he's like, what do you want to watch, and he really likes watching people fish, so like he watches lots of stuff about fish. He's like the typical. He's a
Dude,
fucking
kids
Florida man
like
already.
What they like, man.
Yeah.
Kids like what they like too, though. You know what I mean? Like my daughter likes what she likes. Like, and again, it's one of those things where like I do rough shit with my daughter. Like I'm a kind of
Yeah.
rough dude, I guess. I do
Yeah.
rough shit with my kid, but she also likes her girly shit, man. I
Yeah.
also have no hesitation of popping on some fairy wings and fucking getting down and dirty Tea Party style. You know what I mean? Like, so like, if you don't let somebody indoctrinate your kid, you're gonna be okay. They're gonna be all right. Like, I think the problem now is like people have this expectation of like the state or whatever is gonna educate their child for them, where it's like, no, like when this happened with this Corona thing, my wife and I at first were almost a little panicked. Like, what are we gonna do school wise? And it's like, well, you know, she's only been going to school for a year. Like, we taught her everything else up to that point. So what's the difference? My wife is great with numbers. I'm great with you know, reading, literature comprehension, all that kind of shit. Like, so why not just keep, exactly. Like, so every day she has a little bit of homework that she has to do in the morning after breakfast, after she feeds the dogs. Like, and we're just trying to instill responsibility and not create one of these whiny fucks who thinks everything's owed.
Yeah, for sure. You know, 1 out of 6 of the arrested rioters and protesters were public school teachers. 1 out of 6.
Well, yesterday.
Wow.
Remember yesterday we were talking to Dave? He's like, my mom was an educator, and he's like, holy shit, she's a racist or whatever.
Yeah.
Something that you guys should look into if you haven't already, if you want to really do something interesting with your kids. Are you guys familiar with Arduino?
I've heard the term, I want to say, but what is it?
So Arduino is nuts. So Arduino is basically these kits that you could buy where it's servos, pistons.
You're teaching your kid how to make...
Oh, we do that.
Yeah.
You make robots, essentially, and then you code them, and it teaches you how to do it. Like, there's like a walkthrough for it, and you can teach your kid how to build machines, basically.
What you're talking about right now...
I think... You know, I think manufacturing jobs like CNC plants and stuff are going to become a thing here again. I think that's going to become a real viable, you know, and people who would know how to code a CNC saw or like, you know, devices like that. Arduino is kind of a great place to start, where you're learning both like mechanics and how physics work as well as coding. So coding, like, you get to see the output on a screen, but with Arduino you actually get to see like this thing can lift up this bottle of ketchup. That's fucking crazy. And then this arm squeezes it. And they start to see like, oh, and like that's the kind of shit I think. And just think about this, like, you know, as gun owners, imagine if your kid could build you a crazy gun with like a fucking 3D printer and an Arduino fucking set, like, right?
So what you're talking about is the exact reason that my wife and I, when we started the whole process of looking at schools, we picked the area we live in specifically because of the class of school that's around here. But after we looked into public schools, we were still like, I don't know. Like, we've made a lot of sacrifices so this kid can get the best education possible. And we're still thinking of sending her to one of these public schools, which is going to have a 30-kid class size. There's going to be a lot of these issues. And then we looked at a lot of private schools, and we found one. In this school, they have a coding class where they build robots and code them.
Nice. Like,
weekly. Like, those kinds of things were not existent in public school. And here, again, the public schools in our area may not be opening for the coming school year right away. They're maybe doing everything from home. Our school, private school, it is opening. Like, they're not.
It's a private school.
They have precautions. Well, they have precautions that they're taking or whatever, but they're not, I guess, taking the banana in the tailpipe. You know what I mean? Like, they're not playing the game.
You know, when I was in high school, the technology was you took computer class and played like fucking like really basic DOS games.
Yeah.
At the end of the semester, they made us take this quiz. It was like 100 questions, and you're supposed to find out like the 3 career paths that you're most suited. And so the whole
like
class.
Fallout 3.
Yeah, it's very much like Fallout 3, like when you take the test in the beginning. And so I'm taking my test, and I'm answering honestly. Like, I'm not like fucking around with the test and being a dick. I'm just answering questions honestly. And everyone was getting like, you know, normal fucking jobs. Like, you know, like when they were getting their printout, it was like, you know, accountant, you know, fucking banker. Mine was astronaut, glass blower, or clown. I couldn't even believe clown was in their database of like an actual profession. But like the
You want to hear something funny? I think the number that I heard was that it's like 8 to 10 times harder to graduate from Barnum and Bailey Clown College than it is to graduate from an Ivy League school.
Well, I mean, I'm a 300-pound dude, so like fucking, there's not much I could do except go, ha, hey, like, with makeup on, you know, show my belly and my titties, you know, like, oh my god. I could tell you, Andrew, remember the wrestling panties, bro?
Joe, I gotta tell you, that's what I was just gonna say. You could be a fucking clown, bro. Like, You fucking just you going hi just now fucking made me die inside a little bit. Like, we've been together through a lot of different experiences. Whether it's been playing music out, whether it's been just hanging out, whether it's been getting in a questionable mind state and eating cake off of a floor, like whatever it is, like we've laughed the whole way, and you've been a big part of that laughter. You're one of the fucking funniest people I know. We've had some of the best laughs of life, I feel like, together, like in the stupidest moments, and like, yeah, clown should have been on your list, that's for sure. Like fucking, you're a joy bringer in the best term.
Oh man, that's super kind, and,
Yeah.
and you know,
How many
definitely
times-
reciprocated
how many times
100%.
Right? How many times did we drool? How many times did Thomas almost die from a dab and a hysterical laughing fit simultaneous?
Oh
we
my
almost killed
god,
him several times. We almost went down for the count several times.
the eggnog, the $25 of 7-Eleven food.
Oh.
That was a great night.
Do you remember
He,
the
like-
night that we got about $50 from Taco Bell and then about another $38 from McDonald's before we went back to your house?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was a shameful, delicious night.
You know what's
Nothing
crazy? is
shameful
the
about
other,
that.
It was
the other day, Shanna picked up Arby's and like just a human amount, like just 2 beef and
Oh.
cheddars and a fry.
miss
I got
her.
through like fucking like the first sandwich and like most of the second one, and I was like, "Whew." I'm losing like fat guy stamina. Like I'm in this weird place where like I'm still fat,
You
but
need
like
to lose weight,
I know
man.
what you mean.
I've never lost my fat guy. Like when I started to not be able to eat like $30 worth of McDonald's by myself was like a weird point for me because I'm like, ooh, that means my body's like changed. I'm old, right? I'm old now. So then like I started to like lose weight kind of rapidly. I mean, what really made me lose weight was like they're like, you have diabetes and you have the blood in the organs of a 1,000-pound man. I was like, all right, I should probably stop. But anyway, which I still
Yeah.
have, but I'm like a skinnier guy now, you know. But I can
well,
still
that's tremendous, man.
still-
Congratulations.
no, I just changed my outside, my insides. My doctors are like, how are you doing this? You're losing weight, but your blood sugar is like 1,000, and your kidneys and liver
What are
are
you eating?
failing. You know,
So interestingly
terrible
enough,
stuff.
I had got really sick in December of 2019.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'll just gonna fucking lay it out here. I had a abscess which turned into a carbuncle in my groin, right on my taint, and it grew to about 4 inches. It was like the size of a giant poblano pepper, and my skin was ripping. It looked like Freddy Krueger's face, and I took a tattoo needle to it and ended up giving myself sepsis to where I had 106
Yeah, yeah.
degree fever, almost died. So I took 8 Advils, thanks to my girl for waking me up and saving my life in the middle of the night. I was like having a seizure.
Ooh,
8 Advil got my fever down. So
Cool.
I went to the fucking to the ER, and they took my vitals and everything, and they're like, dude, your blood pressure, like they took it like 8 times because they couldn't believe that it was normal. Like they're like, you have the blood pressure of like a 180-pound man. I'm like, that's cool. And then they took my temperature. They're like, your temperature is 98.7 degrees. I'm like, well, that's a surprise. And so then they like looked at the abscess and they're like, dude, it looks actually a lot better. And like Shanna was like, what the fuck? And like thankfully like I Wolverine healed from that. But since that time, I've been eating keto, I would say, for the majority of my diet. I did 6 months straight where I didn't eat any carbs or any sugar or anything, and I lost 50 pounds in that stretch.
Great.
And I've been introducing some carbs back into the diet just out of financial fucking shit. You know, gotta have pasta once in a while now, but still losing weight, not as fast as when you're like completely off the carbs and stuff, but
Sure.
feeling better. And thankfully, like my organs are fucking good, and like my blood's good. So
Yeah, I think I fucked myself. 'Cause from the time I was 15, I would drink like 2 liters of Coke every day and eat like a bag of Halloween candy until I was 30.
Candy was never my thing. I was always a savory fat person.
Yeah, I just overeat.
See, the problem is too, I would also eat Filipino food and the saltiest Asian food.
Filipino.
So I would like be eating salty, savory, lots of vinegary organ meat, and then at
Rich
night,
stuff,
and
mineral stuff.
also drinking like a 2 liter of Coke while I was doing that, and then get home and eat a bunch of like junk snack carbs and drink a 2 liter of Coke, and then eat a bunch of candy and go to bed. That was my adult life from like 15 to 30. I did that for 15 years. So, and then
Wow,
like now I'm
man.
healthy and I'm eating like much better comparatively, and like and my doctors are like, your organs are terrible in there. They're just disgusting garbage. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm
That's
sorry.
oh
Like,
man.
The
I had an
soda
uncle that
thing.
told me,
yeah,
yeah, exactly, Andrew. Soda. My uncle who had diabetes said that his doctor said there's one thing to stay away from. He's like sugar drinks,
Dude,
yeah,
and I'm not big on that stuff. Like
I'm
me, it's all
fat,
about
so I'm glad I've never been
savory.
into soda. Soda fucking.
yeah. Soda apparently would
I
have
could
killed
I
you
can't
guys.
get through a 20 liter, a 20
Yes.
ounce.
Yeah,
I can't a 20 ounce. If I try and drink, if I like every now and then I'm craving like a fucking cream soda, that's what'll get me. Or if I'm down in South Florida, I want my dad about or an iron beer with my fucking Cuban sandwich or whatever. Like I'll drink. I can get through like a can, but anything bigger than that is
you have no
I hand
idea,
it to
man.
Tom. I hand it to Tom.
You have no idea the way Tom can
Can't
eat
do it.
everything else.
He
I
does
don't
the
know
same
what it
shit with
is,
soda, man.
but I don't
It's
know what it
crazy.
is with soda. Like I know people that like soda as much as me. They can't physically hold as much soda inside of them as I can. Like the way Tom can eat whatever he wants in any
Tom
volume.
can do the same thing with soda. I've seen him.
Yeah,
I've seen Tom
drink
in one
several
walk.
2 liters in one
Yes,
sitting. I've
I've
done the
The
seen
same
three
Tom.
liter,
thing.
bro.
Yeah,
He
the
drank a three
giant.
liter of
Yeah,
fucking Winn Dixie stuff, eating
no
a plate of
problem.
wings with me.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
None.
And like it's
I've been
already a
with
lot of
Thomas on a
food.
walk. I've been Thomas on a walk in a Walmart. Like literally, like we would take laps late at night in a Walmart
Yeah.
because Tom would always, and we're gonna have him on and talk about this. Tom would always not want to go hiking in the woods or the wilderness because he would be worried about having to take a shit at any time.
Yes, I have
And
I had the same
so-
thing. I'm
and
like Louis
so-
C.K.'s thing. I'm always 45 minutes away from having just had diarrhea or about to have diarrhea. Yeah. I
Well,
know Tom and I
Tom's
can
very
relate to
similar.
that.
And fucking, so we would walk Walmart and do laps in Walmart, and fucking, he would grab 2 liters, and like by the second or third lap, they're gone. And he
Yeah.
would start, or he would start with a 20 ounce, and then as we'd be going, if we would do more than like a couple of
He'd
laps,
grab a
he'd
2
get
liter.
2 liters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. He was fucking. He's a savage. He's a
My
savage.
dad had to start hiding because my dad's very short, the 2 liters when I lived with him one time, because like he's like, you're drinking a lot of that, and he's like, I drink a lot of it, but we buy 2 liters for the week, and then we're like on Monday, and then Tuesday they're gone, and I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I'll give you money for them, and he's like, that's not what it's about, and I was like, it's cool, man. It's just Coke, and he's like, no, it's real bad for you. Like he's like, I drink too much, but you drink way too much. Like, and that was
I think
my
I drank
parents-
too much of his coffee.
it's bad when my dad is saying something's bad for you because my dad is the guy like, do whatever you want, man. If you want to overdose on heroin, cool, man, do it. But like just like he was telling like me this stuff, but like it's bad when like he's like, that's too much Coke. It's too much soda. I'm like, oh, well, I'm like, whatever.
Burgers and sandwiches for me, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I've never met a
That's
burger or
stuff you can
sandwich that I've
clean.
had a problem with. Even like a gas station sandwich, you put enough
Yeah.
mayonnaise on, you
Yeah.
can troop right through
Mhm.
that fucker.
Yep. I'll never.
That's like my
be the
dad.
kind of guy
Mayonnaise,
that cheats
done.
on my wife. I never had the desire to cheat on my wife
we-
or like do fuck around, but I
have
will
the
lie
same
to her
problem.
about how many Subway or Publix sandwiches that I've eaten, specifically Publix.
Yeah.
I won't be like ever like sneaking around to see another woman, but I will sneak around and get Steak and Shake late at night. And
Yeah.
eat fucking
This
5
Taco
Steak
Bell.
and Shake burgers.
Yeah.
And fuck, you
Well,
know what I mean? Like that
that-
shit is my demise.
This Taco
That's
Bell.
taking your inner fucking man urges and putting them towards something less destructive.
I guess I don't feel the other urges. The urges are
Yeah,
always
yeah.
fat urges.
But that's what I'm saying. Your brain
It's
always
always
interprets your testosterone turns into just a fucking like undying hunger for
I wanna
fucking like meat
snack.
patties.
Yeah, it is
Like
really
dude, like I
Oh,
remember
did you
when
say
it was
beef
I remember when
patties?
it was all about
Beef
fucking
patties.
you want to chase down the tunnel, but like fucking after a while you're more interested in like fucking like I'm gonna double back to that Chinese restaurant and get some egg rolls and figure this out on the way
Yo.
home.
My favorite
Dude.
place. Let's talk about like my favorite place in Palm Beach County is the Chinese place right by the Publix in Palm Springs, like off of like in between 10th and Forest Hill on Congress.
Yeah,
Joy
right by
Luck?
Greenbrier.
Yeah, Joy Luck.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude.
yeah.
That's like I love Asian food. I've been to Asia. I've been to China. I've been to Japan. Like that's they're not using the same shit. Like they're
The
shopping.
McDonald's Chinese food.
What's that?
They're not using the McDonald's grade Chinese
Yeah,
food.
but they are, but they're using the right spices. Does
They're
that make
using
sense?
the real deal shit. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got the
like
Wendy's. We got the Wendy's upgrade pack.
yeah, like they shop at the Fortune Cookie, which is right down the street. Like the
Jojo,
Real
you know what
swine.
you know what I
you lived
found?
in the same area as me, Jojo. Do you remember Golden Phoenix?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
south
of
of there.
By Publix?
Yeah, all
Yeah,
of
that-
those places around the Fortune Cookie, on Forest Hill, right by the
Yeah.
fireworks store, all of
Yeah.
the Chinese food like places that are in close enough proximity to there,
To use them.
they use them, and
Yeah.
I've watched them like unload their shit from China. It's not like
Sure.
they're not just getting produce like whatever. They're like, no, we need to get in all the real Asian stuff.
We used
They
to
have
get those
Filipino
hats
stuff.
in
Yeah,
that joint.
yeah,
We used to
man.
get
They
those
sell
rice patty
everything.
hats and
Yeah.
fucking rock those on the beach. 'Cause
Da,
it
da,
was
da, da,
fucking-
da,
they were
da,
great
da,
for the
da,
sun.
da. They're great for working in a field in the sun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
they're great for the sun.
do you guys remember a place on Gateway and Congress in Boynton Beach called China Dumpling? It was on the corner next to CVS.
Yeah.
It was there about 20 years ago to 10 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
China Dumpling was the only Chinese place worth a goddamn in Florida. Everything there was made fresh. Like when you ordered General Tso's chicken, it took 35 minutes to make because they fucking made
Yeah.
the
Made
shit
it
from
right there.
scratch.
Yeah.
Nothing there was processed.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking the egg rolls, you could see them rolling the fucking dough back there with the
Oh,
filling
yeah.
and frying it. And like it was pricey. Like back in 1996, like a General Tso's dinner was like $26 with
wow.
no egg roll, just rice and meat. And the egg roll was like $5, but like you'd
That-
spend $50, but like it
Well
was
worth.
nothing else compared. Like even the
Yeah.
best shitty Chinese food in comparison
Mhm.
was like miles
That's-
away, miles.
That sounds like real Chinese food, though, that you're talking
Yeah.
about. I wasn't talking about real Chinese food. Real
No,
Chi-
they had all
yeah.
the staples. They had
No,
all
no.
the staples. They had,
But it's
they had
still
everything that a
real.
fucking
Like you said, it took them 35 minutes to make your shit. That's like they're really
Homemade.
that's,
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
real
yeah.
Chinese food. Like that's different than Chinese food, like fast Chinese food. That's what I'm like. The fast Chinese food is good, but like what you're talking about is like a restaurant.
The real deal.
That is
A
a
Chinese
restaurant. Yes.
There was another one called Kingsburg, but that place smelled like pee.
You know, when
Yo.
it comes to Japanese restaurants, though, I want a little bit of a sour smell. I want a little bit of
So
a
the
fishy,
best
sour
place,
smell.
the best places to go. We should, whenever our YouTube gets huge, we need to go to San Francisco, and I'll take you guys to my best Asian spots. Unfortunately,
Cool.
my nostalgia Asian spot, which is like, it was a fucking like worldwide known Chinese restaurant, like the Green Lady, on the top of this building, right in the middle of Chinatown in San Francisco. Like it had the traditional giant lazy Susan that was the table, and
I had a fucking idea for me and Joey
It was
to
the
do
greatest.
a show a long time ago called Versus, where it would be like us and we go to like a food event in a place.
yeah, you were
and
saying
try
that we
and
should
eat
do
all the
that too.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that would be like Joe. We go to New York with Joe, and I go to Miami. I bring Cuban joints.
Yeah.
You take us to San Fran for the Asian joints.
yeah.
That'd be a fun little mini series we could
Well,
shoot. The three
we
of us.
we wouldn't have to just do like Asian stuff in San Francisco or
No,
like
but you
Cuban
do
stuff
your
in Miami.
you do your joint. You know what I'm saying? You do
Yeah,
your
but I
joint,
mean,
your
like,
cultural joint.
But there's like a bunch of different places you could go in Miami that we could also shoot those episodes too. Same in New York,
Yeah.
same in San Francisco.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So if the COVID insanity and all this shit persists and
Soon
that
as the-
isn't
I really believe it's going to be done as soon as the election.
November 4th, regardless who
Yeah.
wins.
well, that's hopeful. That's wishful thinking.
Yeah,
They want us to wear goggles now.
yeah, I saw that.
So, yeah, Fauci's advisor, his right hand woman, Rob Bricks,
Yeah.
came out with that one today, and so did Fauci. He was touting that goggles will now protect you. So they want to mandate goggles now. It's a fucking mess. So, if that's not a possibility, I have another project that I'm working on. Where it's how there's like have you guys ever seen like speed runs for video games?
Yeah, yeah,
Where people play like
Yeah.
classic NES games and they try to beat it in like 10 minutes.
yeah.
Sure.
I'm gonna do a speed run for getting stoned. So we're gonna do speed run
Ooh.
competitions for who could dab through 3 grams of fucking hash rosin the fastest.
That
Who
sounds
can vaporize a
fun.
half ounce of indoor grown fucking cookies, exotic fucking cannabis out of a volcano the
Wow.
fastest.
Right.
Who
right,
could
right.
smoke 15 blunts the fastest? Who could smoke
Right.
20
You can smoke
joints the
25
fastest?
joints fast. I love
And
it,
we're gonna do
Joe.
like
You
speed
I love
runs,
it.
and then we're gonna try to do personal bests.
I will
Like
be your
Andrew
joint
smoked 20
champion.
joints in an
I'll be
hour.
your joint champion. No
Yeah.
question.
I need to be. I need to be. We need to shoot that show, a la Action Bronson watches Ancient Aliens with his friends style. And Andrew, you
Yeah.
really need to watch that show.
I'll
It's
check it out.
it's dumb. Like it's not. It's mostly not about ancient aliens. It's
Yeah,
mostly
yeah. It's
about
about the friends. And
about
the
yeah,
hanging.
and
Hey,
they're famous
yeah.
people that he has
That's
on
cool.
with. Like
That's
it's
what I'd love to do.
it's a great show.
That's what this little podcast has turned out to be. Like we've connected each other with so many of our like-minded associates.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to be able to create so much more cool shit over the course of the next year.
So
But
Definitely.
go ahead, JoJo.
So what I wanted to propose was if we can't go to like San Gennaro or we can't go to San Francisco due to
Right.
insanity, right, or
Mhm.
riots or violence or whatever's going on, right?
All that, right?
What we could do is we could combine an event where we film the cannabis speed runs, but then we pick a food festival, and we have like 3 or 4 cooks. It's like and they have to represent multiple dishes from that food festival,
That's cool.
and then bring them to the table for like just an orgy of eating and smoking. And we have the table set with rigs, we have the table set with joints, blunts, I have 3 volcanoes. Have all 3 volcanoes with the bags blown up as centerpieces,
Nice.
and we just have a fucking gigantic stoner feast. And we
Dude.
eat all, like the food from San Gennaro. We eat like you
Yeah,
would
we'll
do
make
like
homemade
Filipino
Zeppelis or some
food.
shit.
We could, like,
yeah.
And we could have and we could call it fucking potluck. The fucking name is so stupid, right?
Yeah.
And we could combine these
really
2
good.
ideas into one
Yes.
thing, and we can co-brand my business, into that, because that's who's putting on the fucking cannabis speed run,
That's dope.
and we can build this audience together. So that's something that I would say that we should consider,
love
as an avenue to just have a really great time, to break bread together and not wear masks, and fucking just get super fucking baked.
Well, I'm in
like,
town. I'm in town
to the
August
moon.
24th to the 31st, and I'm
Okay.
recording on the 28th. So I'll have a couple days that me and Morrison are like buckled down. But beyond that, we should 3 get together and discuss this further.
Yes. Yes.
But on that note,
Yeah.
let's call it a night. I know
Well-
JoJo, you didn't want to go too late, and I got fucking a week ahead, a big week ahead.
Well, yeah.
All right, guys.
I want to talk to you about somebody real quick too, Jojo. After we sign off,
Okay.
I think you guys should be friends on Facebook. So yeah, we got what do we got? We got Patreon. Yeah.
Wednesday,
Patreon.
we have our last show of this week. That'll be Wednesday night with my brother Mario Jr.
Oh snap!
That's going to be an interesting show, and I can't wait to ask him a lot of questions. And we got to have David on again too, because I didn't.
Yeah.
get
Well,
to
we
ask him
forgot to
questions.
ask him about the thing.
The thing that we
Adding
talked
the
about tonight.
adding the P to
Yeah,
the
adding the P to the
LGBTQ.
LGBT,
Yeah.
But we will definitely talk to him about that
Oh,
again. But anyway, Joe, as always, man, I love you, bro. Thank you for coming on and hanging out with us tonight. I fucking miss our regular hangs, and I can't wait till we can do that again.
Absolutely, man. I love you too, Mike. Much love, brother.
Yeah,
It's always a blast shooting the shit with you guys. Let's do it more.
Yes.
It's fucking. And I got some big shit on the horizon to talk with you guys offline about.
Yeah. Stay on the
It'll
line.
be really.
We're gonna sign off.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Everybody, Perfect Tommy, let's go get the pedophiles and fucking throw them. Let's shoot them out of a cannon into the billboards in Times Square.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Hang 'em
Have
up
a
on the
great night,
street corners.
everybody.
Good night.
All right.
Check
Night.
us out on Patreon.
Shirts, everything's in the links description
Shirts,
below.
everything in the
Like,
links,
subscribe,
like and
hit the
subscribe.
notification button, share, social
Do all
media,
the
do
things.
all the stuff.
LSD family.
Woo! All right.
LSD.
Bye.